Greetings and welcome to your Sunday edition of Runescape Weekly. Thank you very much for joining us. We are going to be doing a very special episode today because the annual survey has finally dropped, and I am very excited to go over it. There's a lot of interesting things on it this year. It's also only talking about RuneScape 3 this time, which is a breath of fresh air to some of us. Anyway, with that being said, I will undeafen myself here, and we can pretty much jump right in unless Pyrnassius has anything to add to this opening area here.
No, not really. Like we've pretty much covered everything, and nice little talk in pre-show about what you've been doing other than RuneScape and such. So go and have a listen to that if you are a Patreon.
Yeah, definitely. That was a fun episode. I enjoyed it. So I'll be posting that right after we do the show here. I'm just making...
we went through some different things. We
did.
Some very serious topics and some quite fun, light-hearted topics.
Yeah, some of it had nothing to do with RuneScape. Some of it did.
Yep.
Most of it did. But yeah, it was a good show. I mean, I maybe spent like 20 minutes shilling for Albion, but you know, that's a whole other story. If you want to listen to it, go check it out. Patreon.com/RuneScape. All right, so let me go ahead and nix the music here and pretend like I was prepared and had the... So that's also... I was wondering why Windows Explorer Windows File Explorer was disappearing when Explorer crashes, but I guess that it makes sense. It's part of Explorer. So I was having trouble opening Explorer in the pre-show. File Explorer, that is. And I had to restart Explorer, and then it magically reappeared, and I was like, why? But now I know why, because my brain tells me things. We're a team. Alright, let me pop the intro into the jukebox here, and just hit it so it will play the right song, and alright, here we go. 3, 2, 1. You're listening to RuneScape Weekly for September 15th, 2019. I'm your host, Magebit, with over 18 years of RuneScape experience. Joining me today is Pyrnassius, and special thanks to the RRman for the notes. On today's show, month ahead September, Nerf Fest Farming Edition, an update on weapon diversity. Alright, our music screwed up, sorry. I gotta do that again. That was a good intro too.
It wasn't you, it was the music this time.
I swear to God, yeah, it skipped back to the beginning, like halfway through the song. I don't know why that happened. You'll get to hear it in the... I don't know why that happened. That was bizarre. Let me restart that. All right. Don't do that again, VLC player, please. 3, 2, 1. You're listening to RuneScape Weekly for September 15th, 2019. I'm your host, Magebit, with over 18 years of RuneScape experience. Joining me today is Pyrnassius, and special thanks to the RRman for building the notes. On today's show, month ahead September, Nerf Fest Farming Edition, an update on weapon diversity, and 2019 annual survey, and Jagex listed on the UK Parliament's gambling list. Thank you for tuning into this edition of RuneScape Weekly, and enjoy the show. Welcome back for your Sunday edition of RuneScape Weekly. Pyrnassius and I making up for some of the lack of shows here by smushing in the month ahead here with the annual survey. This show is mainly about the annual survey, though, because that is really what excites me the most.
Well, it's sort of, you get excited at the start, and then you
Yeah.
start reading through, and you go, there's a couple alright things there, but most of it's just like, really?
Right.
We're doing this again? I want to give a special thanks to the RRman who passively aggressively made sure that I would show up here tonight. He sent me a few messages through Discord saying, hey, I've built the show notes. Hey, love to hear you on the show tonight, and such. So just to make sure that I did get up and get here. So
I'm happy. I'm happy that he did that. So Before we jump into the show, we do have some PSAs to go through real quick. If you type apparently in /wiki space money making guide, a money making guide will pop up in your web browser for you from the wiki.
I just do want to warn people, while some of those things look really, really good in what you can do, things like crafting wooden cats makes you 4.2 million GP an hour. It also takes about 11 months to sell any sort of numbers of wooden cats. So while you can make make 1,000 wooden cats in an hour, and you'll profit 4.2 mil.
You'll have an army.
So
you'll have an army of wooden cats in the meantime.
Yeah, some of those things that he has in there, smithing masterwork equipment, 2.925 mil. No, it's about 1.5 mil an hour, because I've done these numbers. So some of these do sort of, just do be careful, because while they're on the skilling side of things, obviously the PVM side is always money making, but some of those ones do take a little while to sell different things. So just do be careful of that.
Right.
But there's some really good ones in there.
Yeah.
And I've actually, it's funny that he's brought this up, because I was just in my notes for upcoming videos, because I want to start getting back into video making and such again. One of the things is I was looking at was money making by skilling. Because we all see these money making guides for, go and hunt red salamanders, or go and kill scorpions and things like that. But there's not a lot for just how to make money via skilling. So I wanted to,
because it's not possible.
We can do things. Well, actually, there is quite a few things, but it's again, it's there a lot of the things that are there are very obscure type things, but you don't think about it. And one especially is going to be harvesting Mortmire fungus with the player-owned farm change update. Now, again, this is one when everyone's complaining about how much it was going to cost to feed their zygomites with the player-owned farms. On one of my Let's Talk RuneScape podcasts, I went over the player-owned farms proposed nerf back then, when it was sort of a lot more severe than what it is now.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things was the cost. And I said, you can do it for free, and you can get over 1,000 Mortmire fungus an hour, and it costs you nothing to feed them. But with this player-owned farm coming up, obviously the high-level players are not going to care about spending the money. So if you harvest those, keep some for yourself, sell the rest. You're going to make 4 or 5 mil an hour just doing that.
Hello, Demagy Wolves. Welcome. Yeah, that's good. And basically, make sure what you're crafting that is on that list is actually used
sellable.
In game. And that can be very indicative of the GE price. If the GE price is flat and it hasn't moved in 18 months, no one's buying that item.
No, that's right.
Anyway, let's see here. So RRman wants me to mention that I've been playing Albion. You can check it out on our YouTube channel, RuneScape Weekly. I know it, Albion. The thing about Albion is it basically is RuneScape, so I figured I could put it on the RuneScape Weekly channel. Don't kill me. Then, Pern, what have you been up to?
Basically, I have been doing, when I'm AFKing, I've been smithing Rune Plate Body +4s. Anyone who wants to make money with smithing, do those. It's around 3-4 mil plus an hour. I am doing it in preparation for Double XP weekend when they announce that. I am assuming we'll be getting one around RuneFest like we do every year. If not, there will be one generally late October anyway. I have been trying to finish off Anachronia, and I sort of mentioned this in the pre-show, but there's 3 totems to get from Big Game Hunter, and got the first 2 totems in. There are 1 in 50 drop chance. Got the first 2 totems in 120 kills. About average. Then between 120 kills and 438 kills, I ran very dry until I got the last one. So
Ouchie potatoes.
438 big game hunters. Other than that, I've got 3 new episodes of Let's Talk RuneScape up on my YouTube channel, and I will get the audio feeds sent to Mage so we can release those over the next couple of weeks as well.
I'm doing.
So there's a bit more content out there for you guys.
I'm getting
apologise; it has been a little light.
Yeah,
we've both had a lot of in-life things that have been happening, so
I talk about it on the pre-show if you're interested.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Death Star, for the resubscription. Saying best RS3 podcast. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's 19 months in a row, by the way.
That's it. What about our where's our golden gnome?
That's another thing that where did I saw something about something somewhere. It might have been in a psychological test that I was taking. It was like, do you feel like your achievements are not being recognized? And I'm like, yes.
Hey, I don't need a gold gnome. Just a little shout out now and then. Thanks to the people who put out these podcasts every week for us. Since we don't do our own anymore,
right? Come on. Well, since they fired Mod Lee, is that position open? I'm just kidding. Let's move along. Big special thanks to our sustaining supporters, Ricky A, Cass, and Dialo. Really appreciate that. I haven't updated the active sustaining supporters list yet either, because I literally just came out of hyperspace. Like, I've just been in cryo sleep for the past 3 weeks. It sure feels that way. Anyway, let's talk about the month ahead, September, shall we? Because nobody wants to hear what I've been doing.
Just before we do there is a free item on the Solomon store at the moment, and it won't log in for me to tell me what it is. But don't forget your free item on Solomon store.
Yeah, Mod Lee's contract was not renewed, which is the nicest way to fire somebody.
Yeah, but that was also, he wanted to move on as well. He has sort of finished school. He had some other things on as well. So
right.
It was sort of a mutual thing.
His going, yeah, I've said that before in relationships. Because I'll tell you, the way he made his apology video, I was watching his live stream where he announced it on the RuneScape channel, and in his words were, I never thought I would have seen this happening. Like, he was super bummed about it on the live stream. So unless he's just acting.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch the live stream. I just saw.
It's a resting
animation.
animation.
What I was told by someone else. So,
I mean, again, he could have just been acting, so so his player base doesn't feel like they're being abandoned.
Wushenko Warrior Resting was the free item. It finally logged me in.
Nice. I'll have to go ahead. Hey, Cliff, if you are still available and want to pop on, you're more than welcome to. I know we started a little bit later than anticipated. Cliff was going to be one of our guests on today's show. Just throwing that out there so you don't feel like, and I don't know if you have things to do now, and I don't want you to feel like you've been abandoned or anything. Where are we? So again, month ahead, September. Shall we?
Let's get straight on into it.
All right, let me take a look here. So this is a Q&A, TLDW apparently. So some stuff came up with yesterday's update, they say, but we've pretty much been on top of it as well as the feedback points. So it sounds like they had what RuneScape update doesn't have some glitches.
Yeah. Just before you go, they also gave out, if I can interrupt,
absolutely.
Right before that, they gave out the RuneFest schedule reveal. So on the main stage, we've got obviously 10:30 to 11 o'clock time to set sail, where they set sails to new shores. They take an in-depth look at Fossil Island and the land out of time. 11 to 11:45, there is the Great Gillenorian Cook-Off. Watch our star bakers compete to produce a 3-course RuneScape meal from scratch in 45 minutes.
It's just going to be pizzas, isn't it? It's going to be pizzas and cakes.
12 to 12:45 is the cosplay show and the cosplay Golden Gnome Awards. Obviously, self-explanatory. 1300 to 1345 is the OS and RS data stream. Everybody loves a bit of data, so they sort of tell you favorite stats from 25 combined years of RuneScape and old school RuneScape. 14 to 1445, they have the old school creators Q&A. 1500 to 1545 is Mythbusters. Mod Osborne and Mod John C are here to reveal the truth behind some of the biggest and funniest misconceptions from the community. Got a myth you'd like us to bust? Post it in the official forum. 1600 to 1645, Ron Plays Games. Everyone's favorite game
Ooh.
show host and sheep enthusiast takes to the stage to bring you an hour of unadulterated, possibly family-friendly quiz show fun. 1700 to 1745 is the RuneScape keynote. That's the big one. Find out what you can expect from the next 12 months of RuneScape. So they have gone back to the 12-month format rather than just 3 months.
Ooh.
I know a lot of people complained about that last year, that it was very light on. Which is fair.
I can't wait for the thread of all the cancelled updates, updates.
But the thing is, they can say, okay, this is guaranteed for the next 3 months. What we're looking at for the next 12 months is these. They are going to be subject to change, but we are looking at that. But just give us something.
Yeah.
And then 1850 to 1900 is the old school keynote.
If people could just keep their panties on and accept the fact that not every piece of art gets finished in life.
That's it.
Like, you can have a concept and not, like, finish it. That's what concepts are about. Like Runecepts. They should rename it Runecepts. Oh god, now I can't talk. Runefest is about big ideas. It's not necessarily about everything that's going to make it into the game.
That's it. One they've got a panel. I mean, obviously on the second stage, they call it the panel stage. Mm-hmm. They're all basic ones, but the biggest one there, the lore Q&A. Again, this is something that I think, a lot of people are interested in. I don't know why they throw it on the panel stage and don't stream it. Things like, I don't know, what you could drop one of those other ones perhaps and put the lore Q&A in there. That Ron Plays Games. If it's a Q&A, if it's a quiz show, that's only for people there anyway. Why do we need to see that one?
Play along.
Swap those around, put the panel on, and throw the lore Q&A in there. I mean, data stream. I love data, so I want to see that one in there. But I know a lot of people aren't interested in that.
I'm excited for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, they have 2 channels. Let them, let old school stream on their own channel.
Right. Thank you. We don't. They don't
take the old school stuff off and put our lore Q&A, put our RS3 stuff on our channel.
Just because of
the other stuff on their channel.
Just because of how abusive that audience is, they should be quarantined to their own channel anyway.
But it looks like a good show, and hopefully we'll be doing we'll do what we did last year, where we watch it live and do our talk and everything on it. But
I'm gonna be way more depressed this year though, because how when a grandparent or something dies on Christmas or your birthday, it scars you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Well, we had a pretty tragic death last year in the RuneScape Weekly audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just gonna forever haunt me for the rest of my life at RuneFest, and I'm not blaming it on the individual or RuneFest. I'm just like that's gonna every year I'm gonna associate RuneFest with that, because literally I got off of RuneFest and I went to the living room and I was like, we just had a great RuneFest because Jagex streamed in the wrong category as far as I'm concerned. And that was awesome. And then I sit down in the living room chair and I look at Facebook and I just see this, I just see the worst possible update I could possibly see. And I was just like, that's going to be associated with RuneFest forever for me now.
It was a big hype for us because we were sort of the streaming RuneFest coverage over RuneScape themselves. And,
right.
Yeah, I understand.
It's not often when we get to be the top dog. So it's just the way brains work. Unfortunately, my brain is going to associate that bad experience with RuneFest for a long time, unless we have an amazing RuneFest this year. Not even necessarily at RuneFest. If we have we have to one up last year's RuneFest for me to feel better about RuneFests again, which is not going to happen. But we'll see what happens anyway. We're still going to have a great time. I'm not going to bring the show down for very long. But anyway, let's continue on in this TLDW, shall we? There's a balloon. They've got a picture of the one special effect balloon this year. It's honestly better than the last year's balloon, in my opinion. Balloon tech has gone up. Both RuneFest stages will be streamed. We already knew that before. We're going for more ballsy with the reveals, the best reveals ever. In fact, we haven't been holding back or delaying updates so that we can announce it for RuneFest. So that's interesting. I don't.
Yeah, I mean they say that.
Yeah.
I mean they'd be stupid not to. Really, you do hold. I mean, you don't hold back big updates, but I mean, if you've got a major update that's due around that time, you're gonna delay it a week or two just to get that big wow factor, and then release it on the Monday afterwards. I mean, I'm sorry that I don't care that you do that, because that if it builds hype on something that's going to be really good, then do it.
You're right.
But don't lie to me.
So here's a good section for us in a primer to doing the annual survey. It says players shouldn't see the survey as an exhaustive list where the highest polling updates are grabbed and added to the schedule. Well, it should. 120 construction and rework, mining and smithing took 2 years, but there's an argument to be made that it didn't give you the playtime of 2-year updates should give. Some people said... Go ahead.
Sorry, no. I am just going to say that nothing is going to do that, but that's the whole point. I mean, you are reworking a skill that you are going to bring new players in and such. And while it didn't initially do that, it is going to have benefits going forward in the future. And to think that way is so freaking short-sighted. They do this over and over. Oh, look, it didn't do this, it didn't do that. Yeah, but look at the long-term benefits of these things. Sorry.
Another short-term... I'm going to lose my train of thought. When you're dealing with updates like the mining and smithing update, one of the reasons why it took so long is because there's never been a template for a rework like this before. Now that they've done one before, they have experience they could fall back on. Obviously, it's not exactly the same, but again, that's not what a template is for.
And let's also remember that this could have been done in 12 months from the initial thing that they gave us. Then they said, oh, hang on, and they did all these polls and all this and all that, and they changed things. And if you look at what we essentially, and then they brought out things, oh, what about if we just do the high end stuff and leave all the low end stuff? And we all said no, so they had to, oh yeah, okay, go back to the drawing board. If they had have given us what they initially did, there's not a whole lot. If you look at the very first one that they gave us to what we ended up with, there's not a whole lot of changes there, other than perhaps masterwork being changed from what it was initially going to be, where you would just sort of go through and become an expert in plate bodies or an expert in legs or something like that. Other than that part, there wasn't a whole lot changed from the very first poll to what we actually did end up with.
Yeah, they just took out all the good stuff that would have made skillers and enjoy the game again. That's all. So if anything, don't poll shit. It ruins it, because then the PVMers get their whiny little dirty fingers in there.
And that's it. I mean, you look at when with the Masterwork armor, how extra long that took, because the PVM council, the combat councils, sort of saying, well, no.
All right, I need an operative. I need a private operative that's going to RuneFest that has access to poisons. We need to get rid of the combat council.
Well, no, I mean we've got a skilling council, and they actually officially named all those in the last stream that they had, but they need to be upgraded to a senate, which overrides a council. So they. Let's face it, 45% of players PVM, 55% of players don't. So I think skilling should take priority.
I agree. I 100% agree. I mean, I'm a little biased, but go ahead.
Just another plug for mine. One of the ones getting is, or the first two, it's parts 1 and part 2 of, remember the 5-year skilling plan that they talked about 2 years ago?
Yeah, I joke about it all the time.
Yeah, well, I actually go back and have a look at that and how far along we are with that.
How far along are we? Oh, that's awesome.
Actually, it surprised me. There are a couple of things where they've done quite well. There are a couple of things that they've swept under the rug. And one of those promises was, we will 110%, no doubt, definitely have 120 skills coming out more and more in the future.
Oh, well, and you know who killed that? PVMers, because they don't like to skill.
But the thing is, now with the completion of cape rework, that disgrace of a cape that they've got out there, they don't need to worry about that anymore, because you don't have to have 120. Put 120s on trim.
They'll still complain about it.
Yeah, but they have no point to complain
I
because it
agree.
is a cosmetic cape.
I agree.
Your max cape has the same stats, so that's all you need to worry about.
I mean, right now it's a cosmetic cape, but if you start putting stuff in between 100 and 120, then it becomes a utility cape. It's some
Yep.
you gotta add a perk to it. You gotta
You
so
don't have to though. They don't have to. I mean, the perks are the same as what's on the max cape.
why don't you have to add perks to 120s when Invention 120 has a perk and
Oh, no,
Engineering 120 and Slayer 120?
No, 120 skilling perks. Yes, I'm talking
Yeah.
about the comp cape and the trim comp capes are being
Oh, okay.
cosmetic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Cross.
No. Definitely the 120 skill capes need perks.
I get you now. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. My bad. Anyway, do you want me to continue on here?
Continue. Sorry.
No, that was a good divergence. Some people said it would have been better if they went to 120, so we're just testing it out with construction in comparison to a straight rework, which we already pulled.
That's what the mining and smithing. Yes, some people said they would have been better with 120. Yeah, everyone said that, but you listen to the PVM side again, who screamed the loudest at the time.
Very salty
and
shit.
then
Here's a conspiracy theory.
Skillers turned around and said, "Geez, we wish we had got this because we don't yell and scream." And
here's a
rant
conspiracy
and rave
theory
like
for
that.
you. The PVMers get all the say not necessarily because they have
Yes.
the loudest voice, but because they control the economy.
I don't think that. I think more that they do, and kudos to the Combat Council. I think they have a very good voice in Jagex themselves with their Combat Council, who stand up and fight for them. Yeah, much as I make jokes about Mod Ramen and all that type of stuff, he's a great guy, and he does what he needs to do for his community. He is a PVMer. He gets in there and he fights for his people, and that's exactly what you want from someone who's representing you.
Right. I'm glad we have a good team on our side. I'm just saying, if we had access to poisons at Runefest, we would have a little more sway.
And just not a poison to kill, a poison just to knock you out.
Just some belladonna, or maybe some datura ground up into a nice tea. They'll just you just go insane for a few months. That's all. They'll come out of it, hopefully. As long as you don't have any a high blood pressure issue or something, or kidney. You gotta have good kidneys to come out of that too. But anyway, moving along. Hannah might be joining us. That would be cool.
Good, yeah. I need to run and grab. I've run out of water. I've gone through a whole 600ml bottle since we've been talking, and I need more.
You're more than welcome to run while I talk if you want.
I will. I'll wait till you get down to a little bit lower, and then I'll.
It helps with insanity. Mushrooms. I agree. I 100% agree.
There's some more myfungus.
I'll tell you what.
Between the thumbs.
They've proven. I'm pointing to my webcam like it's on. They've proven that eating mushrooms within your diet, like shiitake mushrooms, portobello mushrooms, lion's mane, especially when you get into the more medicinal ones like lion's mane and stuff, improves your cognitive function in the long term and staves off dementia. Like, eating mushrooms is good for the brain. So imagine what eating magic mushrooms must do. It must be 10 times as good for the brain.
Was there magic?
Right? It increases your mana temporarily. It's like a little. It's like a potion in RuneScape. You get like a 6-hour boost to your intelligence and perception. Imagine if
you see the third dimension.
we wouldn't need new bosses if PVMers took mushrooms. They'd be afraid of the giant mole. Designer Diary on Friday will be about episodic content, which is a new team we've created covering entertainment stuff, stories, bosses, combat challenges, player-owned content. We'll be talking about novella quests, bottle quests to focus on individual lore-important characters. We're looking to do more upfront writing as well. We don't have writers at the moment, and we're looking to change that. Hire me! I'll do a remote writing for under-the-table prices. We have 4 design diaries planned as well. So I got a lot going on as far as new ideas go. First of all, bottle quests need to come back in a big way. Novella quests sound like story-based quests that maybe you're non-combat. that are the size of bottle quests, maybe smaller. I don't know. You know, like back in the day, we had quests that were doable in like 5 minutes. So I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing quests that only took 10 minutes long, as long as they came out a lot often. Go ahead.
Yeah, and again, bottle quests are perfect for that. It doesn't matter if they're 10 minutes if they're relevant. And 10 minutes, 30 minutes,
Right.
8 hours. It just depends on the quest itself and its entertainment value.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with a 10, 15-minute quest.
It doesn't matter if it's small or large. It's all about the content.
And I mean, if you're just introducing something, a new piece of content, and there's just a little 10-minute quest to introduce it, that is perfect because it gives you that little bit of lore to introduce it for people, and B, yes, it's a forced quest, but it's only 10 minutes, so it's not going to have people yelling and screaming.
Right. Unfinished business for a while now is changed from a list of content to be folded into the decision-making and aim setting for every project. So that's a cop-out in my opinion, but it works. I don't care. The stuff that's on the unfinished business list is, it's unfinished for a reason. Go ahead.
That's it. And I mean, unfinished business, you've got the gnome quest. There's a bunch of quests that you keep saying, oh, but people don't really want that anymore. They want to move on. No, we don't. We want those finished. But if you're sitting there offering these great new Elder God quests where people are going to expect some high-level rewards and things from, of course they're going to vote for those. But we still want to see those old quest lines and stuff
finish the old quests with bottles.
Yeah,
quests.
Just wrap them up as a little 30-minute quest. I don't care as long as you give us something. Wrap them up. I hate open-ended quests.
Yeah,
finish them.
Just
up.
drop Glofrey in a vat of acid and call it a day. Unfinished. I don't even remember if he died or not. Unfinished business for a while now has changed from a list of. I already read that. Sorry.
Yep. Anachronia, for example, we want to do a skilling boss. They sort of did.
Yeah.
With I think, and having played 438 games, successful games. That's not including all the ones I failed. of Big Game Hunter. I think that is I would call it a successful skilling boss. The only
I think you're starved for skilling bosses. Go ahead.
No, but the only really bad thing of it is that pathing system. Like I'll click north and I start running zigzag, and when I surge, all of a sudden I surge underneath the boss instead of north where I was heading.
Yeah,
that type of thing. But
just remove double surge and give us 2 more bladed dives.
Just mate. I don't know how they can fix it, but I think surge should be the way you were originally facing. But I don't know how they could fix that. But it's just so frustrating when I'll be pointing northwest and I run 3 steps north first.
Right. I get you. It was pissing me off too. That's why I would always bladed dive before I surged, and even that didn't always solve the issue.
No, because sometimes you turn around facing the other way.
Yeah. So what's up with this player-owned content? The episodic content team will be focusing on this as well, since it really works. 70% of player-owned content will be adding to the existing content, such as farm, ports, base camp, managing miscellanea. That sounds appealing to me, actually. People have said they're too solo, but our designs for them are not instant, so not necessarily. Others have said that they're mobile game-like, AFK, but in our designs, they're not necessarily in that way either. I'm very confused by this.
You'll get all the player-owned stuff up in the survey. There's so much about player-owned stuff in there, and that's...
Yeah, okay. I think the player-owned tag, you can probably simplify it to mean exactly what ports is, and it won't be... ports for everything. Player-owned for us means I can make progress on it, and it's an extension of me. It is another thing to level, to grow, and own. Doesn't necessarily mean offline progress. It doesn't have to be dailyscape. We might drop the player-owned tag because it's confusing people too much. I mean, we consider Menafos' reputation to be part of the definition. So that's interesting. Yeah. If you consider Menopause reputation to be part of the definition of player-owned, then drop player-owned, because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, player-owned farms is great. Player-owned ports is a little mini game that you essentially could do on your mobile phone offline and things like that. They are two totally different aspects. Player-owned farms, well, when you jump into your pens, they're sort of an instance thing, but, it is an open world. You can chat to people, trade with people and such. That's great. I love that definition of player-owned.
Yeah.
Miscellanea, since a lot of updates, a lot of the stuff down there is not as useful as it once was.
Nice to see a revamp.
That type of thing is not too bad. Anachronia, I think, your player-owned area down there, your base camp and all that, I think needs a big extension. But, I mean, obviously that's just been released, and that's something you sort of revisit every 6 months or so, perhaps, and just do a little update and things there. But, in that type of thing, managing player-owned management type systems, I like. But, player-owned ports I do enjoy, but I don't want to see any more of it in-game.
Fair.
Do extensions on player-owned ports, but don't give me other content like player-owned ports.
Fair. I'm not a fan of player-owned ports. I would be happy if we didn't see new content like player-owned ports, or expand it, but that's my anyway. Out of the batch of alchemical onyx items, most people only made Grace of the Elves, so the idea of making another one could keep Clue Scrolls healthy.
I call BS because a lot of people made Luck of the Dwarves as well. Not many people the human one, but there's a lot of Luck of the Dwarves because it is the next step up from, and you needed that to work with Grace of the Elves for a lot of things.
Right.
So, I call BS when they say most people only made that. I think most people made 2 items of the 3 that they brought out.
Okay. Slayer Log uses a very similar system to Boss Logs. There are some duplicates across categories. We're still figuring out whether we're keeping them in multiple categories or just one.
I am excited at this.
Duplicates with boss drops work the same way as the boss logs, such as how Chaos Elemental and Revenants work. Variable tracked things will be ticked off, like player-owned heads and stuff. What is player-owned heads? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just trying to work out what you've... I would say there's something mistype there or something.
That, or I don't understand what POH means in that category. Anyway, everything else will have to be dropped again. It won't be ticked off on release. Probably a no for ticking off RRman items from their banks. We didn't do it for boss logs. Unlike Clue Scroll Log, we didn't start tracking before the update. We would like to consolidate all logs into one interface. Eddie Pet is on the log. This has no appeal to me. So
I know this is probably one of the biggest. If this comes in properly, this may keep me for next year. Even though I'm almost 200 mils Slayer, which makes me sad. I wanna prestige it or something. But anyway,
Bank placeholders is also up on the list here. The beta enters in on the 14th. This beta is supposed to be the final product, and what we would have released, since it's sensitive and update, messing up banks is game breaking. We want to double check that there weren't any bugs. When opening your bank and you scroll down, items will no longer be invisible for a brief period of time before loading in. And F1 through 10 also work for presets. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I'll ever use it.
I would still like to see more presets. But anyway, I got F1 to 12, so surely I can have 2 more presets. Did this come in? I haven't seen any news about the beta coming in on the 14th of September.
Well, it's
Friday.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. No, I wonder if it might come in on Monday.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Player on farm changes soon. ideally within the next few weeks. Last time we spoke, it was a 70% nerf. Now it's a 50% nerf. We're tying in health and happiness, so it's not just XP for nothing. It's XP for engaging. Thank you. Finally. Yep. To offset that, we're allowing XP modifiers to work with player-owned farms. All animals eat 1 food per hour instead of the current 2 hours. We scrapped the complicated size-based food consumption. Health and happiness are also based on feeding, so they'll raise at a faster rate. There are too many animals in-game. The initial design was that it should be profitable to sell your animals. The previous plan was a big nerf, but now what we've done is modified the rate of breeding in non-breeding pens based on the size of the animal. Small pens will take 50% longer to breed, medium twice as long, and large 3 times as long. We modified the collector. Nerf from 30 of each breed, total of 90, to 10 of each breed, total of 30. This means players will have to check the collector more often. If you look in the collector holding more than 30 after the nerf, they'll remain in the collector. Shiny boosting traits are now twice as effective. Traits are inherently more hereditary, and shiny animals XP has been buffed from plus 10% to 25%. Beans have not changed, though. So there you go.
Now, I think this... the food thing, I like the old way, the previous way they had. It gave you a cost per XP, like trees and such do. And, because there's no chance of losing animals, I didn't think that was a big issue. But still, this makes it simplifies it. It makes it a lot easier for people to work things out and such. And we'll go into it more because I think that's we've actually got the dev blog coming up, which was put up on Thursday, is coming up next. But I think there's again, this didn't really give us a whole lot. I mean, the Slayer log will be, for me, is really good. That may keep me sort of playing the game longer if that's done properly. Bank placeholders. I mean, the bank update, is good in itself. Placeholders is the only thing I really care about. Hi. The one thing they still haven't answered for me is with presets, have they worked out a way where your presets will draw from Diango and such when you sort of just store things there, or do I still have to withdraw them from Diango, keep them in my bank? When I want to put them back to Diango, I've got to sit there and destroy each one again. I really do hope they've worked out some way to automatically store them in those areas and withdraw from there on your presets.
I hope so. Withdrawing to presets is extremely desirable as far as efficiency is concerned.
Yes.
For me, in particular.
That's right. But yeah, when they're all stored in Diango and I've presets set up for my mining outfit,
right? And
I click it and I can't find it. Oh, bugger, because I destroyed it. I needed the bank space. It's all in Diango, and I've got to go in and get it out again anyway.
If some items cost money to retrieve from Diango, but items that are free,
that's right.
I wouldn't have a problem with treating Diango like an extended bank.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
And so, play around house. I mean, with all your capes and all that there. I mean,
We briefly just... Oh my goodness! Thank you very much, Velma Vixen. We just talked about the player-owned farms in the whatchamacallit, the month ahead. So I'm just wondering if we want to swap out the player-owned farm nerf update post with the designer diary episodic update, or do we want to do both, or how do you want to handle that? Because I do want to inject one post here. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I wanted to talk a bit. I saved what I was going to say about each step of the player-owned farm.
Okay, cool.
This part
That's fine. Yeah. I'm going to, just a heads up to everyone,
yep.
I'm going to add designer diary episodic content in after this. And Pern, if you wouldn't mind grabbing and starting to read this. And,
yes, I'll read this one, and if you can send me the link to the other one as well.
Yeah, no worries.
Player-owned Farms, the nerf update. This was put out on the 11th of September, and obviously we did cover most of this in the month ahead, but this goes into it a little bit more. So we've made some changes to the plans to nerf the player-owned farms. We've taken on board as much feedback as possible from the forums, Discord, Twitter, and Reddit, and we've even spoken face-to-face with some of our most dedicated players. From that, we've shaped new plans for this update that will roll out on Monday alongside the game update. So this will be here on Monday. Remember that. The first complaint was there's too much XP for too little activity. The farm was always intended to be a low-intensity content, but it's clearly gone a bit too far. We've come up with a plan to reduce the amount of XP through the farm. So step one, they're reducing the harvest XP by 50%. This was a tough one, but it was clear from your comments that reducing XP to 70%, the original plan, didn't cut it. As such, we've reduced the XP to 50% of the overall value. Looking at the numbers, this still gives the farm a really good rate of XP, but it is now more manageable. Now, first step there, I do want to point out, remember when farms were released, you only had one breeding pen. So the XP rates there were fine because you were only breeding one lot at a time. With people sort of saying it was bottlenecking because it was too hard and all that after the first couple of weeks, it was at the start, but once you sort of got the animals done, you've suddenly gone from one breeding pen where you're getting sort of 4 babies bred to suddenly having 7 breeding pens. And that was a big issue because suddenly you've multiplied the original XP by 7 times, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So, I thought the 70% nerf was probably still not far enough, but 50%, I think, okay, that's fair enough. It keeps there. It still makes a very, very high XP, but the next step, I think, is what they have done well to help combat. As I said, trees have a chance of dying and you just lose that XP altogether. Now, step 2 is the animal XP, which is now based on their health and happiness.
Makes so much more sense.
This is to encourage players to engage with their farm more actively. Now the health and happiness of the animals adjust the XP to a percentage of their average to a minimum of 10% of their maximum value. This means that you need to keep your animals fed and healthy if you want to maintain their best XP rates. And what that basically means, if you let it get down to 50% of their health, you're going to lose half of that XP you've got. If they're fed and they're happy, you're going to get the 100%. And that is good because that's sort of that risk reward type thing. You sit there and you feed them and you put that time into them, you're going to get your maximum XP. And like the trees, if you sit there and you check them and make sure that when they get diseased, you cure them and things like that, that's a similar type of step, but there's no chance of these dying still. So I think that is a very good way that they've done that there. And step 3, the harvest XP can now be boosted by items and bonus XP, which basically means you can now use any bonus XP boosting reward or device while harvesting. While this doesn't include double XP weekends, it means that those who are going for efficiency can see an increase in the base XP to somewhere near the pre-nerf values. So if you have things like your elite farming outfit and all that type of stuff, you're going to increase all that XP as well. So again, I think that side of things they've done pretty much perfect on.
It sounds more than fair.
Yeah. See, and a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's a nerf," but what everyone seems to forget that was sort of 3 weeks after release, they released breeding in all pens, and that just gave us so much more XP suddenly into the game, and that's where the biggest XP swing was, because that wasn't tested and balanced properly. They should have said, hey, okay, we'll look at it. We may have to adjust all the rates then and put it in test for a week or two and just see, and then adjusted all these back then. And then I don't think there would have been this issue and complaints that we have now. But anyway, neither here nor there, we're getting it, and this is it. Moving on, complaint, there are too many animals in game, reducing their value. Player-owned farms was intended to be a possible moneymaker for efficient skillers, but with the introduction of some mechanics, we unintentionally made it so that far too many animals were flooding the game, dropping their overall value. Here's how we're addressing it. Step 1, reduce breeding outside of the pens. The main culprit in the breeding functionality in the non-breeding pens, originally our plan had been to massively reduce the chance of breeding and to increase the time it takes for animals to breed in the non-breeding pens. In hindsight, this was a little too much. Again, I didn't think so, but, it's neither here nor there. The changes they are going to make now, animals in the small pen will take 50% as long to breed as animals in the breeding pen. Animals in the medium pens will take twice as long as the time to breed in the breeding pen, and animals in the large pen will take 3 times as long to breed as animals in the pen. And again, I think very good thing there. So, where I think it takes a day for the dragons to breed in the breeding pen, it's going to take 3 days in the outside pens. And again, this is fantastic because it's going to reduce the amount of animals coming in. It's going to mean that players are going to start being able to sell animals again to each other because, hey, do you really want to wait 3 days to see if you can breed your shiny traded animals, or are you just going to go buy it off someone, bang, get it in there so you've got that chance? So I think on the money side of things, this will help out. This means that you should still be seeing animals when you visit the farm, but that the most valuable animals will be reduced in supply. This gives the animals more inherent value, so they can be traded between players for more money, but it does not make them too scarce for the more casual players, which is exactly what we want. Step 2 is reduce the amount of animals that the collector farm hands can hold. Currently, the collector can hold 90 animals, which is 30 of each size, which is too excessive. The current format means that there is little reason to trade, as players will just collect a ton of animals over the course of a few weeks. So the plan is to reduce the collector's capacity to 10 of each breed for a total of 30 possible animals. Now, and they did note that they're not going to remove any animals she's currently holding over that limit. So if you currently have 30 of one animal, you're not going to suddenly lose 20 of them. They are going to leave them there. You just won't be able to get any more there. The collector is still great investment, but we now encourage people to sell more animals to get the best results for both the buyer and the seller. And again, I mean, I really don't. I mean, the collector, I can sort of see value in it for players who don't go there every day. I do still visit every day, so it's not a big issue for me. I still want to see a poop collector.
That would be nice.
Dragon poo for me, and I don't care if it costs me, if it costs me 3 beans for every dragon poo it picks up or whatever. But I just want, the dragon manure is the only thing really useful for me now at the farm because I've maxed out everything. I only need 2 more raven spawn things, and I've done all the hidden updates for that as well. So, this is a good thing to see, and it means I can start, rather than just pulling animals out now, I can start checking for XP again because I'm going to get a more reasonable drop of XP. I also hope that on the manure, they look at how much XP the manure is giving as well, or allow us to toggle XP off on collecting manure because I don't want to max out farming too quickly. And yes, you can collect dragon manure, and sometimes you'll get 7,000 or 8,000 XP just for picking up dung.
Right.
Anyway, moving on. There's no point in feeding the animals because they eat so little. There's currently relatively little mechanical reason to keep your animals well fed. However, with the proposed changes to how XP is harvested, feeding the animals will now be more important than ever before. However, due to the rate at which animals age and the rates at which they feed, for some animals it's relatively difficult to achieve high happiness and health before the optimum harvesting time, so we're making a change. Step 1, increase the rate at which animals feed. To keep things simple, we've decided to make it so that each animal eats 1 food every hour. Put simply, this means that the animal's health and happiness will now improve at twice the rate, while still allowing players to leave their farm alone for a few days and check back in to top things up. Additionally, we've increased the amount of food which can be added via left click. Now you can fill the entire trough in one go. So, again, some great updates here. You should be needing to feed your animals. I mean, I don't feed the animals because I just basically pull them out, sell them for beans, and that's it. And when I get them out at that adolescent stage, most of them are diseased. I don't care because I get the same amount of beans regardless.
Right.
I get the same XP. If I take the XP, I get the same XP regardless. Now, if I do that, if they're diseased, I'm only going to get 10% of the XP. So if I'm supposed to get 2,000 XP for a dragon, I'm going to get 200 XP unless I feed it and do all that type of thing. So again, this is a good thing. It means you have to actually manage the farm properly to get the best out of it. And that's what it's all about. It's proper management and such. So I don't see any issue with this one at all.
Nor do I.
Also, the other complaint was these changes will make it harder to complete the breeding log. We recognise that nerfs are never fun, even if they are necessary. One of the issues highlighted has been that the reduced breeding rate will make it harder to obtain shiny animals and complete the breeding log.
Good.
So, well, exactly, it's supposed to be hard. Step 1, increase the benefits of shiny enhancing traits. These traits will have been doubled in effectiveness, meaning that you are much more likely to get shiny animals if you breed these traits. However, we recognize that breeding traits isn't an exact science, so we've made additional changes. Step 2, increase the hereditary nature of traits. All traits now have a much higher base chance of being passed on to their children. It's not 100%, but you should see it being much easier to breed the traits you want into your animals, whether it be the shining boosting trait or traits like jovial and immune. But what about Ravensworn? That's the only trait I need to breed. They don't mention it. And step 3, increase the value of shiny animals. To give even more value to shiny animals, they will now produce 25% more XP than their base animal, up from 10%. This means that if you aim to breed shiny animals, you should see a higher rate of XP as a reward for the effort you have put into your farm. Overall, these changes should reduce the XP earned from player-owned farms without sufficient effort. We're not focusing on giving back value of seeds as part of this update, but you should keep your eyes on the horizon for plans that might help in that department. I think pretty much seeds are done and dusted these days, because you're still going to get plenty of farming XP, and it's a great way of training this type of thing. Unless you're a dedicated farmer, you pretty much do this and you don't do tree runs anymore.
I know.
Unless you're really trying to go fast on your farming XP. But
it's barely even worth
these
it.
Type of things I think is awesome. What you need to do if you really want to maximize value in trees and things, look at the harvesting of your coconuts and your papayas and that type of thing, which are desirable in other areas of the game. On those trees, that's where you need to be sort of focusing on if you want to try and bring back value to some seeds and things. But otherwise, I have no issue with it. I think it is a really, really good update, this player-owned farm things. I think it is 9 months too late, but as we always say, better late than never.
That's right. Better late than before I hit 200 mil.
Just do it before I just give me my my 2 Ravensworns. I've got spiders and cows left to go for the Ravens, the 2 worst ones to go to get that Ravensworn. So
fair enough. So this, I sent you a link to the designer diary. I will go ahead and jump into it here, unless you have anything more to say on the...
No, that's all. I wanted to get that out. And,
right, cool.
If anyone is interested, I go into a full, I think I did about a 40-minute talk on the player-owned farms, and I think that was my very first episode of Let's Talk RuneScape, which is up on the RS Weekly channel. So go and listen to it there if you don't want to sit there and watch me play player-owned farms for an hour.
Designer diary, episodic content. It says here, hello, Skeepers. It's traditional for us to assess our plans as the year reaches its halfway point, and we're going to shift our focus to 4 key areas of the RuneScape experience. Episodic content, live ops, core game experience, and mobile. To reflect this, we've split RuneScape's development into 3 teams: episodic content, live ops, and core game experience and mobile. Over the coming months, you can expect dev diaries detailing these teams and the road for the game. Each diary will include both a video hosted by me, Mod Osborne, along with a guest who knows the topic inside out, as well as a written version like this one, and a live stream to address any questions you might have. Today, we're kicking off with a look at episodic content team.
Okay, I'll just interrupt it.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I want to see from their live streams.
Right.
Not just sitting there and, bouncing around backwards and forwards with questions from, handpicked questions from the people watching and things like that.
Right.
Real information, having a dedicated, okay, we're doing episodic content, we're going to have the people there who can answer these things. And to get Mod Osborne back out in the forefront of the game. I think he's been hidden away in the back too long. Yeah, I think he's perfect at this type of role, and I'd like to see Mod Mark come back at a bit more too. But I think Mod Osborne is that one we do love to see out there and working, and having sort of more dedicated information and more specific information on these type of things, I think is a very good step forward for them.
I agree. This actually sounds overall like some really good ideas. I'm excited to jump in and actually hear what they have to say and tweak it. Episodic content. You're probably hazy about what episodic content means. Quests, combat challenges, skill training, land masses. The things you play and do in the game are all episodic content. And with the whole team now focused on exclusively that, you can expect this to get A, better, and B, more frequent. And with me as product owner, we're going to ensure that no other work disturbs that vision.
Can I get a hallelujah?
For having...
They're putting Mod Osborne in charge of something he is good at.
Right? Okay.
I mean, it's great he's had this promotion, as head, whatever, but he sort of lost control of what he used to do and be good at. This is bringing him back to something he's good at. He's still probably got that great title and the extra money and all that, great, right. But he's back doing something he is good at, which is content, lore, that type of stuff. So thank God for that.
It's a huge part of what you play the game, why you play the game, rather, and we're going to ensure that we deliver. We believe that RuneScape faces 3 core problems, and the episodic content team will be integral to solving every one of them. Problem 1. There's already too much content in the game, making it quite confusing to pick up. For the past 18 or so years, RuneScape's geography, storyline, challenges, and skills have pushed outward. The game has got bigger and bigger. That makes sense to a degree, as people want new challenges and subscribe to access them. The consequence, however, is that everything gets messier and messier for active players and becomes largely impenetrable for new or returning players. What do they do and where do they start? Our aims of delivering ongoing and dynamic content releases, but also removing these knots and the mess of the game might seem contradictory, but we have a plan. So how can the episodic content team both fulfill its mission and help address this problem? We're going to be working on something we're calling remasters.
Reworks.
For context, you can probably classify the Clue Scroll overhaul and mining and smithing rework as remasters. These updates take a loved, iconic, or potentially satisfying part of the game and take it stage by stage through a remastering process, which will involve graphically improving the content so it feels modern and consistent with the rest of the game, ironing out all the issues with the content, both under the hood and around the chassis. We call this quality of life fixing. Rebalancing the content to make it rewarding and viable for any player. Adding new challenges so there is a reason for high-level subscribers to return to it with the new surprises and new ways of mastering the content. Adding new rewards to thank players and giving you the chance to show off. Adding new stories so that the content feels like a living part of our game world and propels our ongoing narrative forward. For example, a God Wars Dungeon remaster might improve it graphically and mechanically, rebalance it to make it more worth doing. Add a new boss and a new tier of Godsword and an elite dungeon to take you from boss to boss. Our remastered Varric might make it stylishly murky and claustrophobic while adding things to find in each building, as well as new gang stories. If we're successful, this remastered content will be compelling to both subscribers and returning players. It will be both familiar and new. Remasters won't be the only way that we address complexity and unfamiliarity in the game. We won't be afraid to remove things if they deepen the problem. Brand new content will still exist, but will be critically assessed for complexity before we consider releasing it.
Okay. So this all sounds fantastic. I love the idea of an elite dungeon for God Wars where you go from boss to boss to boss.
Right.
That sounds awesome, and especially... g'day, Hannah. How are you? I mean, to do something like that bring those old bosses up into sort of something that's going to be current. So you can leave the standard God Wars there or remastered and such for older players, but if you have like a harder version and like a proper a proper dungeon run or raid, so to speak, that would be perfect, and that's a great way to introduce raids and things like that. Proper raids and things. I think that's great. New tier of Godsword, I would only like to see that if it's you've got to combine all the other sort of hilts together to do it. So it brings value back to that old content. So you've got to have a Bandos and a Saradomin and such, and merge them all together and then create that new Godsword and things like that.
Yes, following the Albion model, of course. Right. Good.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've called for that. I've always said that these things should be built on the skeleton of the old ones.
I'm being a dick.
That's why I'm so excited about this Albion game you've been talking about, because it sounds exactly what I've been talking about for years.
It's everything I've wanted. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. But remasters. I mean, as I said in pre-show, remasters are basically reworks renamed. But that's great, and if that's what they're going to do, and it's going to get it, a spit and polish and make things all shiny and new and get some real good content. Remastering Varrock and having new content there to make it worthwhile and such. I think that is a fantastic way, and I don't think there's going to be many complaints about reworking old stuff to make it more valuable and such. You're always going to have your trolls and critics on Red Shit complaining about that type of thing, but I think the majority of players are really going to appreciate things like this.
Hey Vilma, I am struggling so hard to get chat back on the screen. XSplit is frozen. Hey Oreo.
Hannah's joined us as well.
Yes, hello Hannah. Welcome. We are in the middle of discussing this new concept that they have going on. I'm like having so many computer problems right now. I'm just gonna close like a bunch of windows and hope that helps.
Did you have anything to add to that, or Hannah, do you have anything to add to the remasters?
I wish Google Chrome had something to add to this, because right now it's not responding.
Because as I say, I can read on while you try and fix that if you or Hannah have anything else to add.
I want them to stick to this from one try, unlike everything else.
Yes, we need to get them on some ADHD medication so that they stop bouncing from project to project. But yeah.
Memes is my response to it, says the real Oreo. So
can we turn Hannah up a little bit?
You do it yourself. Yeah. I did. Oh, you mean on my end? I will do it a little bit more. I have her at 99, and it's working out good for me.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I would if I had this article anymore. Hang on. There we go. It's coming up now. I still can't get XSplit up, but we'll just pretend that it's there, and I'll read the chat from this window here instead of XSplit, and we'll deal with that fire when the time comes. All right, problem 2. We're trying to do too many different things at once. Welcome to Earth.
Welcome to life.
We're always trying to do new things and create new genres, but this huge disparity of content presents 2 issues. 1, it makes the game complex and confusing, and 2, it means we're making less of the core content that many of you want. Questers want quests and combat players want combat, but we're reducing their frequency because we're trying other things. This is about focus. We want to identify the stuff that our wide community loves the most and then make more of it, and be better and more efficient while we're at it. With that in mind, we're going to be focusing on 7 content types, at least in the short to mid-term. First type is bosses, both farmable bosses and top-end challenge bosses. Expect a high proportion of farmable bosses, remasters, as well as looking at things like the Barrows remastered, KBD remastered, and Jad remastered.
Barrows remastered would be great.
I would love Barrows remastered. That was one of my favorite places to go once I was able to defeat it without being terrified, and I still never got anything worth selling.
One of the best minigames.
It is one. It is. It definitely is a combat minigame, but I love it. All right.
Also, first modern boss.
Right. And for first like modern boss armor that was like dropped in good and degraded, and you had to like repair. Yeah.
I did my very first video series was every item from Barrows, and it took
Nice.
me about 1,500 odd kills to get every item, and obviously that was before the boss drop log, so I've got to go do it all again.
Aw.
Now no, I don't care. When I read something like this now makes me excited to go and do it
What
again.
if they put that? They should be on the Slayer log too.
Well,
Yeah.
don't you worry. They got a whole Slayer log update coming too.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying they should.
Oh, okay, gotcha. You'd hope.
Barrows bosses on the Slayer log.
That would be cool.
They're not a Slayer creature though, are they?
Well, no, but everything you get from Reaper, like
Right. Boss log. Should be on the boss log at the very least.
Yeah, I mean Barrows Brothers is on the boss log.
All right, then I'm
That's
satisfied.
what I mean. I've got to go and do it again because it's on the boss log.
Jed
I
already.
I was sort of feeling sick about doing it because it's like I've already done it, but now they're going to remaster it. It makes me, oh yeah, now I want to go and do it.
Oreo saying Jad already looks good. It had a graphical rework once already. Yeah, but they could completely rework its rewards.
This whole environment.
And yeah, the environment and stuff like that. But I'm not. It's not high on my request list. I'll tell you that. But it might make me actually do Jad, like the big Jad.
Original Jad.
I've done the original Jad. I haven't done the fight killing. Anyway, you don't agree Czar City looks fine already? No, Czar City looks fine, but its rework was in like 2012, I think, 2013. I don't know. I wouldn't rework the whole city.
Can do. When you can see what they can do,
right
now, and I think this might also be bringing us a step closer to just removing Java altogether too.
That would be beautiful.
If they're going to be doing all these reworks or remasters, as they're calling them, yeah, you don't want
don't
to
get rid of it.
Limited by Java.
Don't get rid of it because too many people will complain. Just keep it, but like
4%
never.
Of players use Java still.
Never patch any of the critical bugs that the client has, so it just crashes every time any Java user tries to log in. So be like, listen, it's available.
But 4% of players still use Java. I mean,
they'll be forced to switch. If you stop fixing it, they'll be forced to switch.
Yeah, they let them go to old school if they want to play Java.
There you go. I think that's the true experience. If you want to deal with an old school engine, then go play an old school game. Encounters. Encompassing Slayer, dungeon mobs, skilling bosses, and more. Also expect remasters of existing ones. Isn't that the point of remastering stuff? Is existing stuff? I'm confused now. I'm very confused to say that.
Well, what they're saying, they're going to bring out more of these, but then they are also going to remaster the existing one.
Also expect remasters, but never mind. Drops. A broad category that covers clue scrolls, alchemical onyx items, Triskelion-like updates, rare drop table boosters, legendary items, and more. With a... Yeah?
No, I'll let you finish.
With a bit of design precision, we can achieve a lot more with a lot less. This will give you things to chase that will dramatically change the game while not making the general game more complicated for lower tier players.
Okay. Again, back in 2017, they were talking about removing skilling drops off bosses and Slayer creatures and such. I hope they encompass that in this as well, because, you know, that is the biggest hurt that skillers have, is that all their stuff can be gained quicker and more efficiently by killing creatures than it can by doing the actual skill. Now they've done that with mining and smithing, obviously, but hopefully with this type of rework, they are going to go whole hard and take your logs and herbs and or divination stuff all off the boss and Slayer drop logs.
I hope so. I really, really want to see them stick to that because...
I mean, even food. I mean, why should I go to a creature? It just continually drops food, so I don't need to go and buy that food off someone and just sit there and camp it for 11 hours if I want to, you know?
Things that are made by players should not be dropped by monsters.
Exactly.
In my humble opinion. Asynchronous minigames. This is unnecessarily confusing name for content that you occasionally check on without necessarily playing. This is stuff that feels player-owned and something you grow and cultivate. This might seem unusual, like an unusual category to choose, but it suits RuneScape and has proven to be really popular with Port's farm and now the land out of Time's base camp. Expect us to add these existing updates more than we create new ones.
And that's what I want. Add to these. We don't need more of them, but just add to these. I mean, with your
Miscellanea remastered.
Basically, once you've maxed everything out, you should be able to trade those resources for teleports to the different big hunted dinosaurs, so you don't have to continually run through all the different areas to get to them. If I can trade in 100 of each resource for a tele tab that takes me to that spot, I can do some hunting there and then bang, go back to the camp. Those type of things. They're the rewards we want to see come from this type of content.
Yes, indeed. Quests. Some will roll their eyes at this, either because they hate quests.
I'm sitting there getting hard over it, but sorry.
Or feel we haven't served enough to justify them on this. But we feel quests are unique to RuneScape and vital for giving them give the game some momentum. That doesn't mean that we won't shake them up. We want them to have a bigger impact, to be designed by dedicated writers, focus more on iconic characters, offer substantial rewards, and to have high skill requirements to access. All of these changes are intended to up the number of quests offered in a given year while focusing more closely on what works about them.
I will throw this out to you, Jagex. I mean, I love writing. I am a writer. If you want to throw me an idea and you want me to write some quest designs and such for you, I will do it for free. Tell me what you want, what you expect from it, and I will sit there and I will happily write them, no charge for it.
I would love to see that happen. That would be amazing. I'm just excited to hear that they're hiring dedicated writers. That's a big deal, because they always had talented designers that also happen to be writers, but having dedicated writers could make quests so much better.
I think Mod Osborne is a good example of that, where he has a brain that can write well as a developer. When we've seen a lot of his quests that have come out through that needle skips and all that type of thing.
Who wrote the vampire series?
Part 2?
The most of it, except for the last quest.
Well, all of it up until the last one was written by I've forgotten her name now. She left the company, so the last one was written by the last two I think was written by someone else.
Yeah, that's the one that was written by the OG part. Like that was a good example.
Exactly. But if you have a writer who writes the whole sequence out and you develop it, and then if they do happen to leave, well, you've still got that story to follow.
Yeah, that would be great.
You write out the entire story for it.
That would be good. That would be great. What do we got going on here? Land masses. Less a content type and more a container for updates listed here. We feel that remastering existing areas or bolting on new ones is still an option for the episodic content team. Our plans don't stop there, however. This team is destined to fail with how much you're putting on them.
Well, I mean, and also, I mean, are we going to get the Western land that OSRS have? And I mean, much as we sort of say, oh well, we can't be following them and such, I think in the scheme of things, we really need to have that land to tie the two games together, OSRS and RS3. I can't remember what it's called over there now, but that big landmass that they have to the west.
Corid or something?
Yeah, something like Corand or whatever it's called. Yeah, I think I do think that's something that RS3 probably needs to look at bringing in as well.
I'm down.
Now it's Zia or whatever.
Oh yeah, there's Zaya too.
Zia, that's the one. Thanks, Hannah.
There we go, and thank you, Zerwin. Anyway. They're also looking at skilling, even more than the elements mentioned above. We're aware that for many players, skilling remains the most important aspect of the game.
Then why don't you look after us, sorry?
I feel like that was said almost like facetiously.
Tongue in cheek.
Yeah, we are going to be taking bolder steps with skilling, mostly because it's so core to what makes RuneScape great. The feeling of leveling, unlocking new activities, and then filtering those things into your routine is just so joyful. Again, I just feel like I'm being mocked as I read this. We want that feeling more often.
It sounds like mocking, but this is exactly how Osborne feels. But I don't think he just sees the how ironic it is to be saying it.
I know, and I've been abused for so long that I can't take it seriously. We want that feeling more often, so we will be making a few changes. These include level 120. We will be increasing more skills to level 120 and are currently working on 2 skills in particular. We want to make it clear that we learned so much from Slayer 120, and we will ensure we do not make the same mistakes again. I've heard that a billion times. We will be making the 120s full with worthwhile stuff to unlock, making it feel fundamentally different than training skills at those levels. We want to reassure you that we will also be releasing 120s at an accelerated pace, even if initially it might feel... I'm sorry, we won't be... wishful thinking. I saw what they wanted to see. Even if initially it might feel as such, with 2 skills being released at once, which felt like the right thing to do, more info at a later date... The long term, we will be managing the rate of releasing of 120 so that people will still feel they can own and keep a comp cape for a significant period of time. On the flip side, we want to recover the feeling of leveling and unlocking in skills that you already love. We think it's the right time to do it.
Okay. I don't think personally they made a mistake went with Slayer to 120. I always assumed that it would be light on the content on release, and as we went forward every couple of months, we'd get some new ones added. The new ones added sort of didn't come about, but I think if they did it that way, hey, we're releasing this, there's the skeleton, but as the months go on, there's quest rewards, there's rewards for unlocking areas and such, there's going to be new things that you're going to fill in these gaps with. That's fine. To hear that they're actually going to now do 120s and have full content between them is even more exciting, because it means you're not going to have to rely on them revisiting and doing those. And as I said, Jagex as a company to me does seem to suffer a little bit from ADHD, where they bounce from idea to idea and then forget what they did sort of 3 months ago, where they were supposed to do more to it. So again, reading this is making me lean more towards re-signing again for next year.
It's definitely looking... Yeah, this right here alone is definitely making it making me feel less, I don't know, skeptical of the fact that they have some semblance of a functioning team. Yeah.
And he's saying we are actually working on 2 skills to 120 now.
If that's actually...
To know that they're actually working on it, you've just taken me from feeling I really don't think I'm going to subscribe next year to wow. Okay, Slayer logs and this, I think locked me back in.
Yeah. Wow, that's a very painful noise, Santa. Good.
Oh. Sorry.
It's okay.
I almost feel like they should just make all skills 120 and add stuff later.
I agree. But comp cape whiners would be so up in arms about it that they would be rattling.
Give them
worthless and cosmetic.
Give them like a 5-year.
What you call it?
Yeah, I don't care.
Stop playing with squeaky toys.
I honestly agree. I wouldn't care if you own a comp cape, you just keep it.
It's okay.
I wouldn't care if they said that if I got all skills to 120. And as I said, make the comp cape max 99. Make the trim comp cape 120s. Do that if you have to.
Yeah.
Just give me 120s.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Here's the problem. I've already done most. What are the odds that the 2 skills that they chose were rune crafting and Well, they're obviously gonna. That's what I was like. Well, what are the odds that they're not two that I've done? What are the odds that it's rune crafting and a skill that they've already brung to 120 Slayer?
I'm hoping that they have construction is one of those.
Yeah,
because they did back in 2017.
It's got to be
mods
construction.
Go 110% guaranteed construction to 120.
It's got to be construction. Just what's the other one?
Agility, I hope.
That I would love that, but they say that it makes sense that they chose the two skills together, which makes me think like mining and smithing. It's like rune crafting and crafting, or wood cutting and fletching.
It speeds up skilling like construction.
I would not mind seeing wood cutting and fletching get redone, and make a masterwork armor for range. That would be great.
But the masterwork armor for range would have to be through crafting.
Why? I mean, yes.
Because that's where all your ranged...
I know.
Your dragon hides and all that kind of stuff.
We're going to make some masterwork split bark armor, all right? Is that crafting or is that fletching? I don't know.
That's actually... I don't think you make split bark, do you? That's just drops.
No, you make split bark.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, you make it out of wood. It's made out of weird wood, isn't it? Like where do you get
the wood from? That's right. It's the deadwood stuff from down in Mauritania.
Make split bark
some of
great.
that
That would
cloth
be awesome.
You get from those. Yeah. No, you are right. Sorry, I think I've only ever made one piece for
same.
The achievement, and then the rest has just come from drops from the vampires.
It's just as I said, fletching and wood cutting to 120. The only image that popped into my mind was like an epic version of split bark armor, like because even my brain was like, dude, there's nothing in fletching armor related, and so it just showed me a picture of that, and I was like, why am I thinking of split bark, like really epic split bark armor? That's why. Anyway, yeah, you make it with the hollow wood, right, from Canifis. You gotta bring it to the wizard. That's right. There you go. Mystery solved. Anyway. Shall I continue along?
Continue. I'll stop interrupting you.
Remastering will also be remastering more skills, and you'll likely see this happening in the skills that we take to 120. New skills. Finally, we want to keep producing new skills. While this could feasibly increase the complexity of the game, we will address this by making these skills immediately understandable. In a way, Divination wasn't, but Slayer is. We'll be ensuring they enrich or stay out of the core game mechanics. This might gently increase the frequency of new skills coming out, but not to a hugely notable degree.
Now, again, they say, the skills are medium, so like Divination was supposed to be released with Invention, and then Invention got delayed and then scanned and then reworked totally into something totally different. So they actually had to release content for Divination. If you are doing a gathering skill, you need to have the artisan version of it at the same time so you know why it's done. So if you are doing something like that, you do need to sort of release two skills at once or within 6 months of each other, basically. But again, myself, much as I love new skills, I would love to see them sort of do the reworks before worrying about new skills, or maybe do a couple of reworks, then a new skill, and then a couple of reworks, and do it that way. But I don't think a new skill is
2020
is as important as reworking the current skills properly to 120 at the moment.
Next year or two.
If one doesn't happen,
promise one by 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
If one doesn't happen in 2020, I'm gonna be a little mad. But
they did promise one, but I mean, again,
because like it's all good. It's all fine and good when you bring these skills to 120 and everything. But like I said, for me personally, and I'm only talking about myself, the odds of it being a skill that I can actually train to 120 is probably about maybe 1.2%.
Does that? I mean. Do you really think, is it time to we revisit prestiging?
I don't know. Maybe the only thing that's going to keep me interested in releasing new 120s is fleshy content in those areas, because being 120 on day one will be a help.
Exactly.
Now that we've learned from Comp Cape that it should be cosmetic, prestige should be okay as long as it was cosmetic only on capes.
Yeah, I think that was one of my original. No, I was the complete opposite. My original thing was if Prestige is going to come into the game, it better bring something to the game. And that's the whole reason why 120s have been so hard to reintroduce to the game, I think, is because it takes a bunch of... you got to flesh them out. Or at least that's why they haven't been well received.
So there's so many people that have just decided to work on 120s for that cosmetic cape because it's like, oh, well, they're never going to do it, we'll do it. And as you said, if there's so many people who have already done those skills to 120... It's counterproductive for them because they're going, oh, I've got all this great new content, but I'm already 120. What's the point unless there's good money in it for them? What's the point in doing it again?
Unless I could make money.
Unless you roll them back to 99s.
Unless I can... I feel vulnerable and attacked right now. I think they should just release a new skill. But as the Comp Cape has demonstrated... Not all elite achievements require, actual boosts to them, but
prestiging. I would only prestige the skills I love, and if I get a nice shiny gold cape at the end of it with no extra perks, I don't care. I would love to just start Slayer all over. I'll hit 200 million Slayer, but they've got a whole lot of new creatures out. I would happily go back and start again and work all the way through it. To get up to that point, any skill, if you've got good, solid content and I can prestige it and go back and start again, happy to do it.
Very happy. As long as there's new rewards. Anyway.
Well, the new rewards are going to be the content between 99 and 120.
Yeah, as long as that makes me money, I'm happy. Let's see. There's another problem they want to tackle. This team better be like 50 people. Problem 3 is the war with dead content. We do monthly surveys about new content. You may have participated in one, and every update we've launched over the past 2 years has had some major feedback. The rewards weren't worthwhile. And we feel that there's a good reason for this. We're so focused on making sure that we are not invalidating existing rewards. The GP gained against a boss released yesterday has to be balanced against the GP gained against a boss that we released 15 years ago. This makes creating new rewards almost impossible, as the huge wall of existing rewards have to be factored into a new rewards design. In most instances, we release rewards that are incrementally more powerful in certain situations or with certain kinds of a player. The result? Generally, that means dead content for 90% of players.
And again, we said you don't need to do that. If you rebuild the new armor and such on the bones of the old armor, you keep both armors relevant.
Right. This makes creating rewards... I already read that, sorry. It should be okay for new content to improve on older content. A new boss can be more rewarding than the last. A new training method can be more lucrative than something 10 years old. This might seem scary, as we all have banks full of items that we value, but we want to reassure you that the changes mentioned above will make all of this deal less scary. First of all, new content in the vast majority of cases will be a remaster. So the new best farmable boss to fight mid-levels might graduate from Queen Black Dragon to become King Black Dragon remastered. In a few years' time, Queen Black Dragon remastered might become the best in slot again. With a sure hand and confident design, the game will retain its familiarity, include the rewards, and yesterday's dirt might be this year's gold. Second of all... Yeah, sure. Second of all, the game will grow to accommodate these changes. As skills move to 120 and challenges are remastered to become more challenging, then the groundwork for you to use your new powerful items becomes bigger and more exciting. So that actually is a innovative way to take on the challenge. It's different than, for instance, Albion. The build on your last... and that's how a lot of older games do it. You build on the previous gear. To just straight up be like, hey, this content's now the best because we remastered it is actually... Because they can do that because the game is 18 years old. They have all this content to remaster and make like new again and give new rewards to you and whatnot. So RuneScape's in a really unique place to do this, and it's interesting that they're taking advantage of it.
I remember when Queen Black Dragon first came out. I mean, as the best boss in game, it just seemed so far away. I'd never be able to do it. And when I finally got there, how exciting and all that it was and such. And now it's like, yeah, Queen Black Dragon. But if they remastered it and made it sort of harder again, but there's better rewards and such, then yeah, bring that on.
Right? Heck yeah. So, what they won't be doing. It's also worth noting that the team won't be making. We won't be working on temporary content. We want our content to enrich the game in the long term. We also won't be making world events, random events, mini games, D&Ds, new content types, or huge lavish quests that have no connection to the current narrative. This won't stop innovation in the team. In fact, we want it to grow. We'll just be working within the categories we know work, and that we know you get a kick from. Thank you so much for taking the time to read about these changes. To us, they make RuneScape feel like RuneScape, as opposed to other games. We are a game that expands and offers new challenges, but we want to retain the cast of characters and iconic elements that got us there. This approach preserves these two elements without making them a contradictory mess. Hopefully, we will even get to the point where existing, returning, and new players feel abundantly welcome and know exactly what they need to do. This isn't a perfect initiative, and I'm sure you have questions and feedback. We want to hear your thoughts on social channels, particularly Reddit, Discord, and as well we'll be on the upcoming live streams. So there you go. This is a big part of what could be coming in the annual survey.
And I mean, these are obviously from the team that is doing the episodic content. So when they say they're not doing those world events and all that, doesn't mean they're not coming. It just means that this is not the team that's going to be working on them.
Right.
And as I said, I mean, this is it's increased my confidence in Jagex again.
It's increased my confidence in their ability to make conceptual design documents. I want to see it.
Yeah, but to know that they're working on two skills to 120,
they've sweet talked me.
Know the Slayer drop log. That I was already excited about that, but I mean, generally that's stuff you can knock over in a few months anyway. But working on something to 120, I don't want to take any of my skills to 120 now, just for the fact that I might just work on mining and smithing, because I basically know those won't be the two skills that they're going to be reworking.
Right.
To see what's coming as 120, and I really hope at RuneFest they announce what those two are, and then I'll make sure I don't touch them until the reworks come out.
That would be helpful. I'm looking forward to RuneFest for sure. I want to know more. I'm titillated. Anyway, would you grab the next document for me on weapon diversity?
I will, and this is something that I called.
Hold on.
An update on weapon diversity. Hey everyone.
Hold on.
I want to
go ahead.
derail the podcast.
Oh boy. All right.
Have I been on since I maxed? I don't think I have.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. I have a max cape.
Congratulations.
I put pictures.
It's the only cape that actually matters in the game, to be honest with you.
That and the Master Quest cape.
That too. Sorry, I forgot about that one. It's forgettable.
Also, my brother was in Australia, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, whereabouts?
Melbourne.
Oh, that's where I am.
Yeah, I know.
And you did?
What was he doing down here?
Was it a vacation?
The company he works for does business in Australia, so he was there to visit the companies that he works with.
Should have brought you with him. We could have caught up for a coffee.
Well, I don't think they would have paid for my trip.
Why not?
What kind of company is he working for?
Yeah, exactly. Our companies here send families all, especially our government. we pay for them to go on a holiday.
That's what I was going to say. Unless he works for the government, we pay for our government families to go on holidays all the time.
Yeah, one of our government things went over for a 3-hour conference.
You've done it. You derailed it
somewhere, and and they ended up over there for taking the family to Disneyland and all that, all on our dollar. A 3-hour conference and a 4-week holiday for the entire family, and Disneyland, Euro Disneyland, and all that type of stuff. And it's just like, come on, you spent $57,000, really?
It was basically,
anyway,
yeah. I'll back off the politics because I was about to jump right in after you.
Yeah, I know. We don't talk. Sorry.
Only in the pre-show.
Trump.
Get out! You're banned. Get the fuck off my show. Now finish reading this article.
No, anyway, yes. So, anyway, as I was saying, this is something that I sort of called when it first came out, and that's the update on weapon diversity. Hey, everyone. Last week, decision to cancel the weapon diversity update. While we're still planning to bring diversity weapons in the future, see the What's the Plan section, the project was beta tested over the past month, has been cancelled. We haven't taken the decision lightly, particularly as weapon diversity has been due for some time to be a summer release that would give something new to the player after Land Out of Time, and bring diversity to weapons would be a real boon to the game. So what happened? Following the weapon diversity beta, we came together as a team to discuss the feedback and issues. If you've been playing the beta, these should hopefully feel familiar. The overriding impression was that the effects weren't chunky or transformative enough. The players were expecting utility benefits similar to the 2 square attacks of Halberds.
How many can you think of, though?
Most of the effects were modifiers on DPS. This meant that there wasn't actually much differentiation between the weapons, and most players would simply choose the weapons with the optimal DPS modifier. We were further from sign-off on the project than we anticipated. We needed to redesign several problematic weapons, find a decent method of communicating the effects of the weapon to a player, and complete significant testing. Anyone playing the beta will have noticed that there were glaring issues. The team estimated that we had completed roughly 80% of the project when we estimated that we were 80% before the beta. Taken together, it became a significant enough to reassess the project. Were there other options? We felt like we had reached a pivot point on the project and had, in effect, one of 3 calls to make. We could plow ahead regardless, doing our damnedest to redesign the poorer weapons and test the remainder of the project so that there were no more issues. Sure, the project wouldn't have nailed its goals of bringing strategy back to weapon choice, and it likely wouldn't have much negative effect. Indeed, it might have been a small positive effect. This path would have meant a launch in October and drawing resources from another project. We could have restart the project with new aims. We would make sure every weapon had strong utility benefits and would design openly with you. Utility benefits would be more difficult to design and develop, so this would mean a launch in February. This would effectively be a new update, so would replace one of the other updates we have on our roadmap. Or we could cancel the project. This would mean that the other projects in development would remain as they are and would gain additional QA resources to tighten them up. Now, first up, I mean, I said right from the start that this was sort of what was too much, going too far, and I would have preferred just to see them do something like on Corp, where you have weakness to weapon types. So if it's weak to slash melee, then you get 100% when you use slash. If you're using crush, you're only getting 90%. If you're using range, you get 50%. If you're using magic, you're only getting 25% of the damage against it. That's simpler and sort of brings more of that sort of diversity for me in, rather than all this weapon switching and such. And especially in a game that has a tick system and such, that it just makes it difficult.
How I feel about
I think
switching.
they were trying, especially with mobile coming out, I think they were just trying too much.
So in Albion, I'm gonna do it again. Yep. In Albion, you can be anything you want, just like RuneScape, right? So, there's obviously the issue of just straight up switching your stuff, in combat and switching from a mage to a warrior. That could obviously create severely OP situations in PvP. So you can change your gear anytime you want, out of combat and it initiates a global cooldown, a fairly long one. I think it's like 30 seconds. In combat, you're locked into whatever you're wearing. You cannot change your gear. And I think that is honestly one of the smartest decisions. And one of the more flexible ways to be like play whatever you want type game, but at the same time make it like not have that insane like it's not a bug, it's a feature that I'm breaking my hand switching between 18 different combat styles.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I think Corp is sort of that creature done right, because it is weak to a certain weapon, you know, and anything else you lose on it. So I think that they need to do more of that type of boss. But anyway, moving on. What's the plan? In the end, we were unanimous as a team. The QA resource could be used on projects that we are currently working on and plan to announce at RuneFest. Tighten them up and increasing our confidence in them. That came with a caveat. We still believed in the aim of weapon diversity, so we agreed that we would get our design team to design completely new utility benefits for weapons, which could be introduced over time rather than in one clutch. For example, a quest might have a reward of a javelin. We would then take the opportunity to release a javelin effect to be rolled out for all javelins at the same time. I don't want javelins, give me more whips. We are aware that some of you will be disappointed, particularly those that have been championing the update and provided us with loads of useful feedback throughout the summer. We appreciate this must be frustrating, and we will ensure that the save time is spent on the updates coming this year. While there wasn't an overwhelmingly positive response to the beta, some of you might have liked individual effects. If that is the case, I would encourage you to reply to the official thread on our forums, official Discord channel, or Reddit and let us know. We still have plans to introduce effects with future content, and some of the more appreciated effects could be retained. There will be for some of you who believe we should have started afresh with this project. For us, the size of that version of weapon diversity would be significant, and when we put it next to some of the updates on the annual survey that are of similar size, we couldn't justify it. We didn't feel it was the best thing we could do for the game with that resource. We understand if you do not share that belief. Regardless of all this, the aims of weapon diversity have not gone away. We still want to bring strategy back into the weapon choice, and we believe that will make the gaining of weapon rewards so much more enjoyable. But we have opted for addressing this over time, coupled with some new approaches to weapon balancing that have been mentioned in the episodic content designer diary. We feel that the wisest paths for the game right now. We don't want to be adding things that we don't believe in, that are benign or can be ignored, or that damages the game. The RuneScape team.
Good for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
great. You know, they've made the choice, so
I'm a little sad to see it go back to the shelf, but anytime things like this, like mechanical updates, quality of life updates, even skill designs, when they get scrapped and sent back to the drawing board, they always come back stronger and better than before.
Look at divination. When it, what we first had to what it ended up coming out as.
If invention came out,
invention.
Right? If invention came out as it was originally planned, it probably would be dead content right now. So I can't say that scrapping this is bad in its current iteration. I think there's enough support for weapon diversity that we'll see it back in another.
Of course, yeah.
Another update,
Another
because
format.
Yeah.
I said right from the start, I didn't believe this was the time to be doing something like that anyway with mobile on the horizon.
Right.
You're just you'll bring in all these new players, and all of a sudden you bring in all this weapon diversity, which is making it so much harder for them to try and understand. So I thought it was the wrong time. I thought it was too convoluted. But anyway. That is what has happened. So, watch this space. We'll see what happens in the future.
Right. Yes.
Hannah?
Check out my outfit in Discord.
I will continue while you do that and see what we have coming up next here. I believe is the 2019 annual survey. Yes. So let me open up a window here. Got it. Okay. I'm ready to get this on the road when everyone else is. Just let me know.
I am. I've got. I'm signing in as my RRman account.
Very good. I'm signing in as my. I just feel like my opinion should count twice because I've been playing this game probably twice as long as everybody else. What? Go ahead.
you link it in general again?
Oh, damn it. We're unable to connect to the service. Please check your internet connections and try again. Hang on. I'm going to try my internet.
that?
What'd you say, Hannah?
Can you link it in
Oh, yeah. Sure.
your Discord general chat again?
Yep. I'm having trouble connecting to it. For whatever bizarre reason.
Oh.
Are you? Is anyone else?
Fine on me. Nope. That's
Same.
all working fine for me.
Why am I being
Yeah, I'm not.
cock-blocked here? Hang on.
It's being weird for me.
Let me try. Okay, I think I got it. Let me wait. Will it let me press next? Why won't it let me press next? Okay, now it'll let me press next. Okay, this thing is like bizarre, but let's rock and roll. So, first up, it says here, we'd like to ask you about your past experience. I've played
Hold on a
both.
second. 'Cause I haven't gotten it work.
Oh, okay. Well, this is just the first question. I'll stretch.
Oh,
No, go ahead. Okay. So
it's loading.
So old school RuneScape versus both games. I played both games now because when Warding came out, I gave old school RuneScape a shot. So does that mean
And Warding got cancelled?
Yes, so Warding got canceled, so my interest got canceled. So does that mean I should say both? Or should I just say I've only ever played I've only ever played RuneScape. That's a lie. Okay. Moving along. How old are you? I am between the ages of 25 and 34.
45 and 54.
Country. This is all personal information, so just
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, the first page is just all your personal stuff.
I
United
just say that
States.
I'm glad they call it RuneScape instead of RuneScape 3, because that's what it should be called.
Interesting. You're right. When was the last time you played RuneScape? Within the last month. Thinking about your last 6 months of playing old school RuneScape or old school RuneScape, I've mostly played RuneScape. For the rest of the survey, unless otherwise stated, we are only interested in your experience of RuneScape. How many RuneScape accounts do you have? I have 2. Feel free to just answer right after me if you want. You don't have to.
You get 2.
When was the last time, thank you, the last time you subscribed to RuneScape?
Currently subscribed.
Yep, same. Thinking about how much time you spend on playing RuneScape compared to 6 months ago. I spend less time playing RuneScape than I did.
About the same.
Same.
Moving to the next page. All right, so mine says you said you spend less time playing RuneScape, or have stopped playing RuneScape altogether. Why is that? So if anyone else has something different, they'll get to read it after mine real quick. So I'm too low level. I strongly disagree with that. I'm gaming less. I strongly disagree with that. My membership is too expensive. I somewhat disagree with that. I'm playing mobile games instead. I strongly disagree with that.
I agree with that.
I somewhat agree with that because Albion has a mobile client. So I somewhat agree with that. My friends aren't playing anymore.
I don't agree because both of you said you're not playing as much.
Right.
I'm playing. I'm playing just as much as I would. But yeah.
Oh.
I neither agree or disagree. Most of my friends have either most of my personal friends have either quit long time ago or are on this show right now. I'm tired of microtransactions. Some would agree.
No,
I was neutral on that.
I've been playing old school RuneScape instead. Somewhat disagree because I a little bit was.
I strongly disagree.
I'm bored of grinding XP. Strongly disagree.
Yeah.
The game was changing too much.
Strongly
Yeah.
disagreed. I did on that one.
Yeah, I somewhat disagree. There isn't enough new content. I strongly agree.
You reckon? I said no. I'd just somewhat disagreed with that because I think there's plenty of good content for me.
I'll
Anachronia being
somewhat
obviously,
disagree.
You know, I've spent most of my time at Anachronia the last 3 months anyway. So
All right, I'll somewhat disagree then, or somewhat agree rather than just because the content has been good in large swaths, but then there's like dead periods that I'm not crazy about.
But see, that's why Anachronia is sort of like a mini expansion to me. It is that sort of content.
Should
that
have
is
just kept calling them an
3 or
expansion.
4, yeah, is that
Or
sort of 3 or
they needed
4
a
months
third
worth
name.
of work.
Expulsion. I'm busy playing other games. Strongly agree. The new
Master.
the new content isn't fun. Neither agree nor disagree. I mean, actually, I somewhat disagree. All right. Does
I
anyone?
disagree. 'Cause I love Anachronia.
So, did everyone else get the same questions with just a different headline, or does anyone have anything drastically
They're
different?
in a completely different order for me, but I
Yeah, I didn't get any of that at all.
All right. Which then, Pern, what'd you get?
My one went to what is your overall in-game skill in RuneScape, which is 27, 36, the highest.
Okay.
And what activities do you enjoy in RuneScape? I had bossing or raiding, distractions and diversions, treasure trails, which I agreed on, questing, which I agreed on, carrying out achievements and task sets, which I love, skilling, which I love. There's PvPing, mini games. I
Of course you
enjoy
try to
completing
be
everything, and I don't
knowledgeable.
enjoy any of these. So I selected treasure trails, questing, carrying out achievements and task sets, skilling, and completing things.
Gotcha.
I selected everything but PvP.
Yeah, RuneScape needs better PvP. I mean, they can't have better PvP until they fix the combat system. Let me be fair. What is your current overall in-game skill level in RuneScape? I am between 2701 and 2735 because you don't count 120s. Oh, okay. Well,
2736 would be the highest.
but I don't have 2736.
Don't you?
No, because I don't have.
Oh, because you don't have Slayer.
Right.
See, I just, yeah.
I'm 117 Slayer, I think.
Hmm.
What areas of RuneScape do I enjoy? I enjoy questing. I enjoy treasure trails. I enjoy skilling, and I enjoy. That's about it. Those three things.
On to the next.
On to the next pages. RuneScape activity you most enjoy. My most enjoy skilling.
See, that was a hard one for me because I love my questing and carrying out achievements and
Same.
task sets.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that they've listed for me are obviously the ones that I chose. So I enjoy completing everything. So
There you go. That's
Yeah.
fair. All right. Are you in a clan? Yes.
Yes.
Next page. Did you purchase the Premier Club 2019 membership? Yes. Globe.
Yes.
Globe? Gold. Did anyone purchase anything lower than gold?
nope.
Okay. For what reasons did you purchase Premier Club? To support RuneScape with the long-term membership. Some would agree. Pyrnassius?
I don't. My one says for long-term membership with in-game benefits. Oh, so
They
that's the
just
second
they
question,
yeah
right?
they mix
They got
them
a
up.
different- Why are they doing?
They're
Okay,
in-
so to support RuneScape long-term membership,
They're
I'd
in,
agree. you
yeah,
know?
they're in random order, so someone can't like give you their answers and then click them through.
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd want to do that. For cheaper membership, no, that's not why I do
I
it.
put neutral. Yeah, I put neither agree
I
nor
would
disagree.
strongly agree.
Interesting. So you buy it for the value of the pack.
I have many. I checked all but one of these.
You can check multiple ones. Oh, I mean,
Yeah, I wouldn't strongly agree on all but one of these options. Here's what I'm saying.
oh, okay, gotcha. I thought you could choose multiple thingies. For long-term membership with in-game bonds, that's not for me.
Yes.
I
do
put
that.
neither agree or disagree.
Okay, yeah, that's where I'm at as well. So I only have to buy membership once a year. That I strongly agree with.
I strongly agree with on that one.
Yeah, we're on the-
That's the main reason for me.
Yeah, that's my secondary reason. For one or two of the particular benefits, that
Strongly disagree.
strongly agree.
Yeah, I put neither agree or disagree. They're
It's
they're
not
nice,
one or
but they're not
two,
the
it's
main
like
reason.
The whole thing for me. Like,
You know, to be a VIP member, I strongly agree with.
yep, because I want that bad
And for the exclusive in-game benefits is what I also strongly agree with.
for that world that you're always on.
Yeah, and I just want
Yeah.
the little star.
Yeah, see, again, the little star I didn't really care. I put neither agree or disagree. The in-game benefits I put somewhat agree because having that VIP world is nice to go through sometimes.
Since these show up in a random order, would it be better if we each did our own list separately, or is this working out okay?
No, because you read it out, I just find the question and tick it
Okay.
at the same time.
Let's
So
switch it
yeah.
up. Let me read this next section though.
But your mic sounds like garbage,
Hmm.
and you're breaking up.
I can be
Periodically.
200%.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Not trying to like shade you or anything here. Below is a list of Premier Club benefits. Please rate how appealing each of them are to your membership packages. To you in a membership package. Premier Club Forum. A forum available to only players with Premier Club Gold. It's neither appealing or unappealing for me. Hannah?
Which one was it?
Premier Club Forum.
I would say it's very unappealing.
Okay. Pern?
I was neutral on that.
Okay. Premier Club Vault D&D, a Premier Club exclusive monthly distraction and diversion where you can find powerful rewards. I am neutral on that. Hannah?
It is very unappealing to me. Because it is exclusive games, or it's like in-game content that only Premier Club has to offer.
Right.
I think it's a bit fucked up because of that.
I think that's a very valid reason.
Time, but I don't do it every month.
I skipped it last month, but I try to do it because, like they said, it has powerful crap in it. Do I agree with the fact that they're giving away powerful crap? I'm not crazy about it, no. Which is why I was neutral. But anyway, Pyrnassius.
Yeah, I went neutral. Again, I don't like all the lamps and such. I think, we've got too much free XP, but it's nice to get some springs or some feathers occasionally.
I actually like the minigame, which sucks.
I don't think there's really powerful rewards in there, personally. I just think it's more XP lamps and such, which I don't like. But, 50 feathers or 50 springs I don't think is powerful, personally.
Go ahead, Hannah.
I would argue that it's designed well, but I think it should be available to all members, and then like free to play should get a very nerfed version.
I think
it's content for.
I don't agree with that. I think a reward for
because it's a permanent thing in the game that only a special membership has access to.
Right. Now,
I don't mind.
If I mind it a little bit, but not enough to
but you've
contest
signed up
it.
for a year. So you've given them a year's membership in advance, and they're giving you a little.
Yeah, and you saved a bunch of money. You saved like $20.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is
anyone who can buy a few bonds can save up and get this themselves too. It's not like you have to spend real world money. So I don't think there's any real issue with with them getting their payment up front.
That's always what they dangle over your head. You can use bonds.
It's multi-tier membership in a game that already had one tier that's $11 a month, and I know that's a meme, but for that price, you should get access to everything. That's just my argument.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Yeah. I am on the fence about it. I think it's a kind of shitty thing to do, but it's fun. I wouldn't mind if they gave regular members a nerfed version of it, like instead of free-to-play members, but that's just me. Anyway, additional daily keys. I am somewhat appealed by that, but it's like not a big deal to me whether or not you get addition.
I really like it. I just think it should be more.
That's fair, yeah. I would agree with that. More would be better.
And it should
neutral
be
for me.
Not RNG.
Okay, yeah. Neutral for Pern. Yeah, you should just get them on login or.
Well, and I mean like treasure hunters.
Oh, should not be RNG. Yeah, that'd be lovely. Premier Club exclusive Q&As. Opportunities to talk to Jagex moderators with questions in the Gold Premier Club forum. I'm neutral on that.
Very unappealing.
Neutral. I don't. Yeah, I've never been on one, but if I see them, I'll ask them. But they're like whenever they do those things, it's like 4 a.m. in the morning for me.
Yeah, just use bonds forehead, right? But yeah, I'm with you there. The Premier Club forums are never really used. It's so easy to get access to a JMod on the Q&A stream without being even a paying member that it's not even that big of a deal. Loyalty point payout, that's very appealing to me.
Yes, that's one reason that I find it very handy. Is I love those loyalty points up front.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Same. Yeah. Premier Club tokens, somewhat appealing. I kind of like them. They give you the ability to unlock whatever you want.
I put very appealing because again, I like to unlock things without having to pay, and with those cards, I think as a gold reward member, we should get everything that is on offer, for people who just go and buy a game card. So I think that's very appealing.
Yeah, it's definitely a step up from from having them exclusive to membership cards that were like impossible to find.
Especially if you're in Australia.
Right. New Premier Club outfit. Very appealing to me. I need cosmetics. How about you, Pern?
Oh, yep, down there. In neutral, I don't really. I mean, I like unlocked, but I never wear them.
Premier Club monthly prize draw. I'm neutral on that because I never remember to enter them.
Yeah, same as me. I like it, but I
okay.
never remember.
I'd rather have them just give any. I'd rather just have them give someone a bond randomly, and it just gets
Right. I'm just they need to make it more accessible. If it was an in-game option from VIP members, I would be more apt to be excited about it. It's too
Like when you go into the vault, do you want to enter the monthly prize draw? Yes.
Yeah, why not? There you go. See, I find that it is too inaccessible right now, but if you made it more accessible, I would probably it would bump up my interest.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, as I said, if you when you click on the vault, if you sort of entered the prize draw then because it's in game, then yeah, I'd remember it. But because it's on the forums, I just never go there.
Right. VIP Premier World Access, very appealing. Keep me away from those plebs. How about you, Hannah?
If you want to stay away from the plebs, don't you just want to go to like the high level requirement world, high total level requirement world?
Yeah, that's the real way to do it. But I'm trying to be an elitist about it.
It's very appealing, although I never used it. But
I never used it for a long time, and then I was like, I'm paying for this world.
But I would say in general, we should get rid of like 20 worlds. I know that's slightly off subject, but I wish that was on this survey.
Yeah, that'd be nice to survey again. Premier Club Badge, very appealing.
World Access, very appealing to me too.
Thank you.
Very appealing.
Yeah, the badge is... I just wish they would release new badges with each year, or at least just start doing that now.
Just give us a purple badge and I'll be happy.
Right, that'd be nice. I'd be
Which
pretty...
badge?
So I think there should be a like a founder's badge. If you've been subscribed every year since year one, you get a different color badge.
So like nobody will get
And there
that.
should also be badges.
I would have it.
On the holiday events that you did.
I've been
a
Premier
holiday
Club since
event
day
in
one.
2005. You get a special badge that no one else does.
Yeah.
Well, you've already got something like that. You know, you have a scythe that you don't want anyone else to have. Your Christmas scythe. You have your yo-yo, and no one else.
Yeah, but people don't know it every single time I chat.
The Christmas scythe is tradable.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
Whatever that scythe was that they had for one of the Halloween events that I want.
The Reaper scythe.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got Rune Metrics discount. That's very appealing to me.
Yes, I love the fact that it's 2 months for one bond. It's great.
Neutral.
I don't use it. So the funny thing is, if they offered a platinum membership that included Rune Metrics, I would buy that. But
right.
Yeah, again, it's something I have to remember to buy every 2 months. That's unappealing. I mean, I'll just put neutral on that because
use an extra 6 bonds at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
That's
can you do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you could
can't buy past, so you can't buy past like next December or whatever. You can't like buy like 20 years of Rune Metrics, but you can buy up until the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
Just in one foul swoop.
Yeah. Just wait for bonds to go down in price.
But I think they should.
You have to do a bond after bond after bond because I don't think you can enter in multiple at once. But
no.
Take like 30 seconds.
Okay, but I still think that they should do like a next step up platinum club that includes that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because then I would buy that.
I'd also be okay if they put it in the current one. To be completely honest, people have said that, and I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with.
Especially bonds are so much more GP now that it's like give it a little more value. Potentially.
The Premier
Club value, but like bonds are what 22 mil, 25 mil, I think.
Yeah, are they still up there? Wow.
Yeah, 22. I bought one for yesterday.
I had one in my bank that I didn't realize was there, so I was selling a bunch of stuff, and then I sold my bond, and I was like, okay, now I don't have to spend the money.
So the Premier Club for a badge, or just Premier? Yeah. So I don't
It's
know.
very
Neutral.
important, even though I never go on the forum.
That's the thing is it's neutral because they make the forums useful and I'll care. Premier Club Artifact Aura, very important to me.
Yes.
I need that.
Somewhat appealing because I
Even though
always
I
forget
never
to use it.
Yeah, I forget to use it because it's not an aura this time around. But if they made it an aura, I wouldn't. Moving along to the next page here. How appealing to you are each of the following updates for RuneScape? Player-owned Adventurers Guild, a new guild founded by you. Attract adventurers from quests, send them on guild missions like ports, or join them on guild quests.
Very appealing.
I am probably neutral on this.
So you got player-owned updates and drops?
I mean, yeah, they're just listed randomly. Remember?
Oh, sorry.
Going through a
No,
little.
'cause you didn't read. No, sorry, because you didn't read out the top line. So what one was that one? I'm scanning down.
Player-owned Adventurers Guild.
There it is. Yep. I put somewhat.
Okay. Dungeons as drops. Drops from skilling and combat that give you entrance to a dungeon, likely for a certain period of time. Gain enhanced resources and XP from the dungeons. That's somewhat unappealing. Yeah, that's somewhat unappealing to me.
Very appealing to me.
I put very unappealing because again, dropping these things in combat is just going to make even more resources come in.
That's how I look at it as well. Clue Scroll Booster. Similar to the Clue Scroll Overhaul, this would add new rewards, new clues, changes to how you do clues, and quality life.
Skilling though, isn't it?
No, there's two different clue ones.
What? What did you say, Hannah? I'm sorry.
On the last question, can you read it again?
For dungeons as drops?
Mm-hmm.
Drops from skilling and combat that give you entrance to a dungeon, likely for a certain period of time, and you gain enhanced resources and XP.
So it's for both. That's why I like. It's not just for one. So you get them from skilling too. So both sides would get rewarded in this update.
Yeah, but still, it's combat bringing in extra resources. Again, I would rather lose it on skilling side than having PVM bringing in even more resources.
I'm curious what they'd put in the dungeons.
Because they already, like the mimic token. How many of those have you gotten? They're pretty rare.
I get like one a day at least.
Yeah, I've got 52 of them sitting in my bank.
That's not that.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
That's like one a week.
Player-owned town. A player-built hub town. Yeah, I'm pretty into this. I would say I'm very appealing for that.
Do it like a Western setting.
That'd be awesome. Recruit NPCs to come and live in your town and act as
the edge of desert.
You get to
like a desert theme.
That'd be
Because
cool.
I mentioned construction in this, I gave it a very appealing.
Right? Managing Miscellanea Remastered is next step for me.
Yes, very appealing.
Yeah, very
You can
appealing.
make a lot more GP over time.
This one makes no sense. Player-owned bath escapes. And now I just like to think of it as a company that sells beautiful bathrooms. It's a bath escape. Own a submarine to explore the seafloor. Complete ports like voyages, or explore yourself. That is very unappealing to me.
I just put somewhat unappealing because I think we've got enough other stuff in game than introducing more of these type of things.
Player-owned skilling dungeon. Oh, Hannah, did you want to get in on that, or are you good? Cool. Player-owned skilling dungeon. Gain golden skilling locations as drops when skilling. Then install them in your own personal dungeon without any competition. Strongly unappealing.
Again, the whole thing of this skilling rework was to make skilling more social. And then you turn around and you offer things to make it an instance away from everyone.
Yeah.
I would rather than do reworks like they did with mining and smithing, where you're not competing anymore. Make it social. Get your mates gathered around. Have a little clan gathering. So I put very unappealing on that as well.
Okay, cool.
Hannah?
Hannah's still busy, it looks like.
Very appealing.
Very unappealing from Hannah. Okay. Land.
Very appealing.
Oh, very appealing from Hannah. Gotcha. Sorry.
Hannah doesn't like people.
Land Out of Time base camp expansion. New buildings, new benefits, and additional tiers for your base camp on the Land Out of Time. Comes with extra totems. Somewhat appealing.
Very, very appealing. I've loved Anachronia.
Me too. I've enjoyed it.
Very appealing.
And because I've just about maxed it out now, I've only got the last level of the spa to go, and then I've completed it all. So I want more content to be chasing now.
Very nice.
I gotta head out for now.
Okay. Nice to have you.
Okay, and I'll see you later.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't stay for the whole thing, but have a good rest of your show.
Take care. And thank you. Player-owned transport links. Set up player-owned shops and level up transport links with various cities. These act like managing miscellanea, offering rewards over time. Extremely appealing to me.
I put somewhat appealing because I'd like to know more information on how we're going to do this. I mean, player-owned shops sounds really good, but how are they going to work? Transport links to various cities I did like, but I mean, can we get rid of lodestones? If you can get rid of lodestones, then I'd go 6 out of 6 on this one. But yeah, again, how are transport links really going to work when everyone just uses lodestones?
Well, I think transport links are more meant in the abstract sense of when you are transporting goods via your NPCs between cities and whatnot. They go out like on their own, and you're not involved, so they can't use lodestones. And as you're
okay, so I didn't even look at it that way. I'm thinking transport links as in like the little train from Keldegrim to Varrock and things like that.
So,
yeah, well, so what?
The only reason
again, explain things properly.
The only reason why I can envision that is because I've seen other MMOs do it.
Okay.
And I think that they are trying to capitalize on the fact that it's been successful in other games.
Fair enough.
And
I'll still leave it as somewhat appealing.
That's fair. I've been asking them to do something like this for since I figured out it was possible. The World Army, a player-owned army recruited and outfitted by you. Complete army quests and army dungeons as you protect the army world. Sorry, I just had to throw army in there one more time. I'm neutral on that. It's not really for me.
It unappealing.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, it doesn't... Nothing... I mean, those type of things don't interest me at all.
Yeah, I'm not really into that either. I'll go
Doesn't that sound a bit like that mobilizing armies type thing rework? Wasn't that type of thing where you gathered together a little army, played against
other people's armies?
Something like that.
Let's never go down that route again. Boss drop rework project. A project that looks critically at the boss drops of less played and less lucrative bosses and improves them, like King Black Dragon and Dagonoth Kings. I'm neutral there.
Yeah, I went neutral because it's like I would rather, if you're doing that, I also want to look at the money that the higher end bosses make too and bring that down a bit.
Right.
Golden
Clue Scrolls. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying, there's a reason these ones aren't played as much because the other ones are too lucrative. So you need a better balance between them all.
Golden Clue Scrolls. Get lucky and find golden Clue Scrolls as you train. These Clue Scrolls guaranteed high value or double items when you complete them. Somewhat appealing.
I put somewhat unappealing because I think there's too much money already made on, or not too much money, but there's too many people already doing Clue Scrolls, and I think these type of things where you've got the guaranteed high level drops, you're just going to devalue.
That's a good point.
You're going to devalue even more. Like, I mean, you look at the Barrows Die now since they did the Clue Scroll rework. I mean, it's down to like under 100 mil, I think.
Wow.
When I got mine, I sold it for 420 mil.
Right.
It's just because so many people do them, because you can stack up so many clues now, and with cheating things like Alt 1 and such, it just makes it
too easy.
So I think bringing in even more and guaranteeing drops like that, I think is not a good thing.
Find a way to make. I already forgot what I was going to say. Moving on. Pet Park. A serene location to see all of your pets. Level up your pets, gain traits, and send them off on pet quests. Man, they love arbitrary, like insert variable here quests.
Yeah. I actually put very appealing. I mean,
Same.
to do something useful with my pets would be wonderful. I've got the Master of All now, and yeah, as I said, I want female versions of all the pets now to start chasing. Because once you unlock, it's great. Yeah, I've got this unlocked, but then once you've got it, it's like, oh, now, what am I doing?
Right.
So having something like that, there's a reason for having all those pets. Now I can go and interact with them and send them out. I think would be really awesome.
Rare drop table booster. Most trending in monsters roll on the rare drop table if you can get lucky. This would be an overhaul to improve that drop table, adding new items. I'm neutral.
I put somewhat appealing because, grabbing, 3 runite stone spirits or 20 adamant stone spirits and 1 uncut diamond and things like that, I think those type of rewards need to be removed and reworked. So I put somewhat appealing there, and having a better chance at getting my Hazelmere's signet ring would be nice.
Which of the following deters you from bossing? Next page. So fear of taking on bosses. Yes, I would somewhat agree with that.
Sorry, I'm just trying to
No
find
problem.
that one.
I mean, the options don't change.
Yeah, I don't. I'll just find the question. So where is it? Neutral on.
Cost of consumables. Somewhat agree.
See, I somewhat disagree. I don't think there's really much of a cost at all on consumables because,
Let me tell you
You don't
about
use food
Saradomin brew costs, all right?
But why do you need Saradomin brews other than
To not die?
bosses?
Because they're expensive and to not die at bosses. And that's what we're talking about is bossing. So
yeah, but I mean, the highest level bosses are the only things like your raids and all that type of stuff. I mean,
you need them in my opinion, I still need them at racks. So,
Do you?
Yeah,
Okay, fair
I
enough.
can't do racks without brews.
Fair enough.
So I that's just me. High level armor and weapon requirements. No.
I put somewhat agree to that because mainly, and I'm looking on the group bossing side of things, because if you want a group boss, unless you sort of have a team you can pay to take you, if you don't have that high level armor and weapons, they just won't let you on their team.
I have enough money that's not a problem. So I just strongly disagree. A lack of understanding of the combat system. Strongly agree. RuneScape combat, I don't know what the hell's going on there. You?
Yeah, I was neutral.
Okay.
I understand it, but it's just the tick system and trying to play all that is awkward. But I mean, I do understand it all, the concept of it all.
A lack of teleports and access to bosses. I am neutral on that.
Agree with that.
Poor grouping system. Somewhat agree.
Totally agree on that.
A lack of clear guide on what boss to choose at your level. Nah, I'm neutral.
No, neutral. Yep.
No friends to boss with. Strongly agree. Not really though. For me, I'm neutral because I'm a special case.
I'm neutral where I can, in our clan we have a few people who always sort of look going bossing and such, but it's just group bossing is unappealing to me.
All right.
So.
How
Plus,
often?
I don't have friends.
How often should we launch various types of combat content? So this goes from every month, every 3 months, every 6 months, every 9 months, every 1 year, or every 2 years, or not at all. So first up on my list here is Slayer mobs. So for me, I think Slayer mobs are good, like every 6 to 9 months, somewhere in there. I'm probably going to go with 9 months.
It's funny because I'm a Slayer, but I said once a year on an
Wow.
actual mob. Yeah.
Okay. Hard.
And the mobs I'm talking about, Ripper Demons, Camel Warriors, Acheron Mammoths. So yeah.
Hard solo bosses like Araxor, Talos, etc.
Once a year.
Yep, same. Once a year. Easier multiplayer massable bosses like God Wars Generals every 6 months.
Yep.
I'll go with, for me, once a year. Hard multiplayer bosses like Virago, Raids, etc. every 2 years.
I put every 2 years on that as well because you want to make sure that the high level players get good use out of that before they're onto the next big money maker.
Right.
And that sort of gives those up and coming people sort of time to get there and do it as well before all of a sudden they can't find people to do it with. So I thought every 2 years there.
Combat dungeons. I said every 3 months. Like just a straight up dungeon. like I think should be included almost with every monthly update, but I'm gonna stretch it out and say every 3 months. Go ahead.
I did every 6 on that. And again, combat. I mean, does it always have?
Why
to
am
be
I
dungeons?
being better to combat than you?
I just, yeah, because I enjoy combat, but again, you don't want to keep changing them all the time. And I mean, does it always have to be? Why does it always have to be a dungeon? Why can't it be? The Lost Grove, which was out in a little forest area,
Right.
a mountain, inside a volcano. Just stop doing dungeons, little doorways downstairs and things. Start utilizing other areas.
They should have called it combat areas.
Hmm.
Anyway, elite dungeons. For me, that's
Did you do easiest solo bosses?
that's coming up next.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
Elite dungeons.
elite dungeons, I'm fine with like every 9 months on elite dungeons,
Yeah, I said 9 months on those as well.
and easier solo bosses like Queen Black Dragon and Barrows. Give me one of those every 9 months.
Yeah, I'd say every 9 on those ones.
Rightio. We have considered making planned and frequent changes to the combat meta. This would mean that the best weapons, armors, and mobs would change reasonably frequently, requiring you to change your strategy when playing. How appealing of an idea is this to you?
Unappealing.
Yeah, I'm gonna say somewhat
If I
unappealing.
just learned how to do something and then you change it on me, screw you. I'll never go back there again. Stick that up your bum.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I get what they're trying to do here, but it is a very awkward way to come about adding diversity to combat mobs.
Unless you're doing that to the highest level elite bosses for people, for that community who like that challenge, then no way.
Yeah, I can't 100% or really any percent, maybe like 2% get behind this. If we were to make changes to the best weapons, armor, etc., which would change, how would you like that to be implemented? All changes at once, several batches of changes over a year, smaller changes, perhaps one change a week, roughly, or don't make any changes like this.
Yeah, don't make any changes for me.
If we were to make changes so that the best weapons armors would change, I don't really understand the question all too well.
Well, say, yeah, if you chose very unappealing, then you'd probably say don't make change at all. If you said somewhat unappealing, you maybe sort of say one of the others, but
I said somewhat unappealing, so I'm going to say several batches over the course of a year if you're going to make any changes. Like, don't do them all at once. RuneScape will be attempting a different approach to content, something called a remaster that takes existing game content, areas, bosses, dungeons, training methods, etc., and updates them graphically, rectifies bugs, adds new elements to play and complete. If we were to remaster such content, how important is it that these things are included? Such as new stories to play that explore the background of content. I think that's moderately important. This goes on a scale of not important to extremely important. New stories to play.
I put moderately important on that one.
Fixes functionality and improvements. I think that is also moderately important.
Well, see, I think fixes and functionality improvements is very important. If you're
right.
Fix the stuff.
I forgot what we were talking about. We're remastering things. New rewards to gain and unlock. That is only slightly important in my book.
Moderately for me.
Okay. New challenges that give you something new to achieve. That, in my opinion... Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go first.
Very important.
I put extremely important on that one.
Look at you.
Yeah. I mean, new challenges and achievements. That is what I like. So if you're putting...
If we make it the whole area again.
Right. Yeah, if you're doing Varrock, I mean, add more of those achievements.
There's
to the
so
diary
much.
For me.
Considering we have a whole new diary now, like how it works is completely different. Back when we originally had an old city like that, there's just so much new stuff you could do now that you can't do back then. That it just makes so much sense to make new achievements. And adding rune score to those new achievements, retaining a sense of familiarity. I think that is moderately important.
Yeah, I add moderately as well.
I like it to feel new.
If it makes sense to keep it that way, but if it's not...
What's a great example?
Just because of that.
Well, here's a great example. Catherby and White Wolf Mountain. it was different enough that I was very confused by White Wolf Mountain. And Catherby, like, stuff is not in the same area as it used to be. You're probably familiar with it by now, but you weren't when it came out.
Yeah, but see, I like that because it was like, oh, exploring. Oh, what's here? White Wolf Mountain was especially with clue scrolls.
That's why this is only moderately important for me, because I want it to be somewhat different, but also I want it to be also somewhat the same.
That's right, and that's why I put the same thing. Moderately important. So it's got to be so you can, if it's makes sense to leave it where it is for familiarity. Yeah, but if it needs to be moved for a good reason, then definitely move.
Right. A graphical improvement of the area, characters, etc. Extremely important. That's like that's number one.
For remastering.
Right.
Remastering it to make it look better.
Rebalancing of rewards to make them worth doing, I'd say, is very important.
I put moderately for that.
New surprises that make it exciting to explore again, that's moderately important for me.
Very important. I love the exploration side of things. That's why I loved RRman.
Very Oh, you're right. I forgot how great that was. I'm going up to very important. All right. How appealing do you find the above remaster concept? I find it very appealing.
Yeah, very appealing for me. Number one.
How appealing are each of the following proposed combat updates for RuneScape? Excuse me. More early game bosses. More bosses towards Giant Mole and Barrows Brothers End of Combat, aiming to get more players into bossing and add new rewards into the game. I am somewhat appealed.
For me.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's good, and especially with mobile and such coming out, I can sort of see why that is somewhat appealing. I selected new, and I can't remember what I selected on my last one, but I've gone somewhat appealing.
Here's what I'm feeling about this: is doing this survey a second time. This is basically just me evening out whatever my shotgun answers were the first time. This is like a refined, I'm actually getting to stop and think about it opposed. Because when I did this the first time, I went with my the opposite of whatever the analytical mind is. Yeah. I was just gut impression. This is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. Anyway, Land at a Time Slayer Elite Dungeon. A dungeon beneath the Land at a Time featuring dinosaur bosses, a new narrative, and Slayer mobs to fight. Very appealing.
Yep.
And I don't even like bossing. That is very appealing to me because
I just love the concept of their elite dungeons.
I
just love the concept.
They've been great. Yeah. I also want to see elite dungeons. I also want to see just a Slayer dungeon underground dinosaur. What the second Anachronia came out? What did I say? Underground dungeon.
Again, though, why? I mean, we've got a great big volcano on this island. Why can't we have it inside the volcano?
All right, think about this. Yeah. Think about this. Seismic activity. Where's all that lava coming from? You could be
no lava. It's not exploding, so it can be something inside there.
Is there lava in the volcano? Is it an inactive volcano? Is what I'm asking.
I'd say it's inactive, yeah. Because I'm assuming it's an inactive volcano.
If it's inactive, then fine. But if it's an active volcano, and it doesn't have to be overflowing with lava right now, but it would be awesome to have an underground lava flow dungeon. That would be badass. Anyway, Slayer bosses for some of the most loved Slayer mobs, like the Dark Beasts, Abyssal Demons, and Strike Worm.
I love that.
I'm neutral here. I might like them. I don't know. I can't say that I don't.
I put I think somewhat appealing on that one.
Okay. High level cow and chicken dungeon. Why should a dungeon always be serious? Fight.
I put no.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't need this.
No. It's just there to have a joke type thing. Why develop time on
don't waste develop. Yeah.
People are going to go for a bit of a laugh when it's first released and then never be touched again. Really.
This is game jam content, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hostilius the Autocrat. I'm sorry, he's already in office. He's busy at the moment. An abyssal boss and raid, taking you deep into the abyss to defeat him, as mentioned by Mod Pi at 2017 RuneFest. Yeah. I'm going to disagree, just mildly, not all the way.
Now, for people who don't remember Hostilius the Autocrat, this was a boss, a demon that was so big you had to fight from inside him. You're actually inside the boss to fight him. So I put very appealing on that because I love the idea of it at the time. And it's a totally new concept. So if anyone remembers when if you did the quest for the Queen Black Dragon, we actually got inside the Queen Black Dragon to fight. This is sort of that next generation of it, and I thought it was a totally different concept for an actual boss fight. So I really like that.
Did she even feel you inside of her? Moving along. Big Game Slayer. Unlock the ability to fight the large dinosaurs from Metacronia, giant slayer bosses that really challenge your abilities.
I put neutral for the simple fact that the pathing system, unless they can fix that, is still screwed.
Right? I don't know. I'm neutral.
Although, actually, I'll leave it at neutral. I mean, I could sort of see somewhat appealing because you probably wouldn't have to rely on the pathing system as much as you do with the hunter side of things because you're just sitting there whacking it to kill it. But yeah.
Are you, though? What are its mechanics? Who knows?
Yeah.
Abyssal Slayer Dungeon. A new Slayer dungeon dedicated to the theme of the Abyss. Hell yeah, all the way, 100%. You know how I love my Abbey demons.
Yeah, I put somewhat appealing on that. Again, I'm just so sick of dungeons all the time. I'd like to see,
right?
different areas done.
Can it be an Abyssal Slayer plane? Like make it like an alternate reality.
Yeah, you got to jump from these little island to island, like the.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. Take the mechanics of jumping from platform to platform in the Runespan. You take the graphics of the Abyss and enhance them, and you put all the monsters in there. That would be great. I had another idea that melted from my brain as I talked about jumping from island to island, which pisses me off because that was like the lesser of my two ideas. Moving along. A place for the PVM players to gather, a boss hub. So this would give you teleports to bosses and whatnot, and boss-specific armors and recommended orders. I'm neutral here. I think that...
No, you go.
I think that the Max Guild portal needs to be given to more than just the Max Guild. It doesn't belong there. But I also don't know how to properly implement that, so I'm just going to remain neutral. I'm not the best person to talk about combat.
I actually said unappealing on this. I said, why do we need it? We've got the boss portal in the Max Guild, and most people who do that are there. But sort of it was pointed out to me by one of the listeners that not everyone is max and can get into the Max Guild to use that portal, who may be high-level combat but not have done everything else. So I would put somewhat important, and where I would probably put this is either in Varrock or that we have another portal area in Pyrnassius where make it a higher payment to change them. Like the Max Guild's 100k. Yeah, do it at 250k for the people there, where they can lock it into one. Have maybe one at Varrock or one at Pyrnassius or whatever. But it does when it sort of is explained that just because people have high level combat doesn't always mean they're maxed. So I think for those people who don't want to have to max, and that's what it's all about, playing the content you like. You can be maxed. Max combat, but only be 50 dungeoneering or whatever to have access to the Max Guild. So do that. So I put somewhat appealing this time around.
Landslides, randomly generated Slayer dungeons, very unappealing to me.
Yeah, I put somewhat unappealing. It's like, why?
Skill in combat boss, a massable boss that can be taken down by your choice of combat or skilling. Skillers make it easier for combat players to take it down, and vice versa. Very appealing to me.
I put very appealing, and again, the main reason to try and bring a bit of work between skillers and combat people again, so we're not looked at as that second-class citizen.
Right. Player-owned raidable dungeon, in addition to player-owned dungeons allowing you to set up a raidable dungeon for others to attempt. If they fail, gain XP and drops. That is amusing, actually. That's somewhat appealing.
It's amusing. I put somewhat unappealing because it's like, to set it all up and then get someone in to play it. I think again, it's a type of thing that'll be fun for a month and then no one will touch it ever again.
Unless it's like the Albion Island system where you can make your island public, so you could make your dungeon public on a list. You just go up to the player-owned house portal and select dungeon lists, and it shows you just like a list of available dungeons that are public. That would be cool. Probably more at work than RuneScape is capable of, but
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't. I don't think the content's worth the development time for the longevity of it.
fair. King Black Dragon Remastered, making the KBD a more challenging and more rewarding boss that is worth doing, and adding a quest that reunites him with his Dragon Rider. Ooh.
Yeah, when you said add quest, I love this one. So
Yeah,
I
that's
think it's very
appealing. It's somewhat appealing to me.
And I mean, to make it worth going to again, because I enjoy the King Black Dragon.
Yeah. Pyrnassius, Virtus, and Torva dungeon, an elite dungeon that takes you through a new area dedicated to the God Wards generals Pyrnassius, Virtus, and Torva.
Somewhat appealing.
Yeah, I'm neutral there. Grouping system improvements. A critical rework of the grouping system to make it much easier to find teams includes the ability to flag yourself as looking for a group and then carry on training.
I don't care. I
Somewhat
never
appealing.
use it, so
Somewhat
yeah,
appealing.
I'll put neutral. If I want to do that type of thing, I'll just get in my clan and see if anyone wants to do it.
Yeah, randos tend to be bad grouping partners. God Wars Dungeon Remastered, a graphical improvement, reward improvement, and elite dungeon and new boss for the original God Wars Dungeon. Very, very, yes. All the way. Fight Caves and Jad Remastered, a graphical improvement, reward improvement, including a new elite fire cape. A new fire cape, elite dungeon, and new game mode for fight caves. I'm neutral.
I would somewhat appealing.
Slayer Tower as an elite dungeon. See the Slayer Tower in a new light as you complete a new story that takes you on a trip through through an elite dungeon. Somewhat unappealing.
Somewhat appealing for me. I enjoyed training at Slayer Tower and sort of. I'd love to see that. And again, it was a different format. It was a tower, not an actual dungeon.
Right. Like the Polypore dungeon. It was like a really crazy like depth dungeon.
That was a dungeon done well, actually.
Right.
The Polypore one. Yeah.
It was a vertical dungeon instead of like a laid out dungeon. Slayer Tower Remastered, a graphical improvement, new rooms, new elite mobs, and a dedicated quest.
Yeah,
I'm neutral.
Put, very appealing on that, because I love my Slayer.
Yeah.
But can we also have with this removing the 200 mil cap on Slayer so I can keep going and having fun with it?
Right. Just remove all 200 mil caps so I don't have to worry about quitting.
Make them all 5.4 bill. Keep your 200 mil as for your high scores, but let us move beyond that on our.
Right.
I mean, they were able to do with skill with the the 99s. They were able to put up the 120s and that there. So let's now do that with the skills. The skilling XP. You leave your max cap at 200, but allow us to actually have a counter that goes beyond that.
Yeah, right. You can do that with rune metrics, but then you got to pay.
Yeah, but yeah.
All right. Why don't you read the next page?
And no one sees it.
And I'll track down where they are.
Yep. Okay. Oh, hang on. I missed. Well, what have I missed? I've missed one of these questions because it won't let me go. No, you forgot the new dragon.
All right. Sorry about that. Where am I on the new dragons? I'm just kind of somewhat not unappealed with them.
I put neutral. The fabled dragon, but yeah. Okay, the next page brings us to new areas and games. So how appealing are each of the following updates? A RuneScape pet battler. All of your pets gain combat stats and can be leveled, as well as unlocking their own traits. Players can choose to fight their pets of other players. Sort of somewhat unappealing to me. That's not the type of thing I do with mine.
That is extremely appealing to me, all the way to the max. Yeah, the pet battler has been something that I've been wanting them to. They've been talking about doing it, and then they not do it. Like, just do it. Anyway, continue.
They've talked about doing it for a while, and then they said last time, it's hard, it's too hard to do, it's going to take too much time, and that now they've got it on here again. So anyway, maybe they've worked out a way to do it. Ardoin Remastered, a graphical rework and changes to make the area more explorable with more stories, items, rooms, and dungeons to find. Very appealing to me.
Yeah, I am very appealed by that as well.
The Rock Remastered, same description, very appealing to me.
Yeah, same.
The dark side of Xanaris, a new area to explore on Xanaris where the sun never touches. Meet the dark fairies and other fantastical creatures. That's really, really. I wish there was one above. Very appealing,
Right?
and I'd put it essential. I'd love to see that.
Yes, very appealing as well.
This one sounds a little familiar. A RuneScape card battler and collection system. Gain cards from drops and fight every major NPC in card game battles. Earn cards from these battles, aiming to collect them all.
It's almost, I feel like,
Chronicle, anyone?
am I in some sort of alternate universe where Chronicle didn't happen?
Again, I mean, this,
No. Very
Chronicle
unappealing.
was perfect for, Chronicle was perfect for mobile. It doesn't need to be done in game, so I had the same. Very unappealing.
Right.
Castle Wars Remastered. A graphical improvement as well as new game modes, including cooperative mode, more rewards, a quest, and a clan cup. I was neutral. I don't care about.
Also neutral.
Yeah. I mean, I can sort of see why they want to. Yeah, but I mean,
there's nostalgia, but that's about it. Mini
yeah,
games,
and it just leaves such a bad taste in your mouth. Castle Wars from everything else that's ever happened down there. So
right?
It's not something I'd sort of want to revisit if anyone knows what I mean there.
Right.
Wen reveals Camdazal. The elder god Wen rises up from her sleep and reveals Camdazal, the ruined dwarven city of the Imkando. Find and salvage whatever you can.
I'm neutral.
Do we really want to awaken an elder god? I went neutral on that. It sounds interesting, but I'd like to know sort of a bit more before we do it. And
Same.
I don't know. I want to see sort of completion of older content completed first. There's so much of all this new content. Let's concentrate on these remasters and such before we. Yeah, maybe in 3 or 4 years' time this will be a good one, but I don't want it now.
Right.
Pharynthry returns. The needle is used again, trying to bring the wilderness of the Third Age God Wars into the modern day. The wilderness becomes a war zone.
I'm neutral.
Totally unappealing. I mean, we've got enough time travel. I mean, Anachronia has obviously been brought up from the past. You know, I don't want to start seeing, oh, look, we're just going to bring this up from the past, bring this up from the past, bring this up from the past.
Right.
The needle, with the needle skips quest and all that. I mean, made sense. I don't want to start now using the needle. Oh, let's get some content. We'll just do some time travel with the needle. That's a bit of a cop out to me.
Right.
Now, the most important rework of all to me, Karamja Remastered.
Yeah, very appealing.
Definitely.
Poor Karamja looks like garbage.
It does. It's so. I mean, I think that's the first area they should look at reworking.
So I'm going to give you my next two. I'm going to give my next two answers on the next page, just so you have them, and then I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah.
I am somewhat interested in competitive video games, and in RuneScape, I am also somewhat interested. I'll be right back.
No, it's what about RuneScape Auto Chess?
Fuck that shit. Okay. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the last question on this one. Was the RuneScape Auto Chess, which is a new game genre that is popular, where players summon and level monsters to fight another player's monsters. This would be a game mode. I mean, it sounds like it's sort of a summoning type of mini game, but again, mini games don't last long in RuneScape. I've put very unappealing on that one as well. I just don't, I don't see, again, I don't see the value in spending development time doing these type of things. Anyway, over to the next page, and Mage just gave you his two on that, and that is for esports. And it goes from not interested at all to extremely interested, and that is, how interested are you in competitive game mode in video games in general? I'm not interested at all. I don't really get into competitive games. A competitive game mode in RuneScape, I would probably say slightly interested to see how they do it. I did love the dimension of the damned that they sort of bought out a couple of Halloweens ago, and I know they screwed it up with that mist at the end. But if they redesigned that and just made the zombies basically 1 or 2 hit kill you in those areas rather than having a mist that insta killed you. I think that would have been a far better way and would have come off a lot more successful. And I think that whole thing would have been a very successful gameplay if they didn't screw it up with that mist. And it is just a shame that they haven't sort of gone back and revisited that. But one of those things. Esports. They're not really my thing. Anyway, over to the next page, and I think I can hear Mage just picking up his his headphones there.
Yep, I'm here.
I did. Perfect timing. So, when engaging in competitive gaming, how interested are you in the following modes? And again, not interested at all to extremely interested. So, solo player versus player game modes. I don't care.
Yeah, not interested.
For me, I'm not interested in all of these because I'm not interested in competitive gaming personally. So mine are just not interested in all.
I am very interested in solo player versus environment and monster and team, but not in the PvP because RuneScape's PvP sucks.
Mm-hmm. And next, how often do you do the following when engaging or participating in competitive gaming? It goes from several times a day, once a day, 4 to 5 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, 1 to 3 times a week, once a month, once every 3 months, less than once every 3 months, and never. I'm never on all of them, and basically they are uploading your competitive gameplay to live streaming or video hosting platforms, watching videos of streamers, influencers. Oh, sorry, yeah, I'll let you answer.
Right, so I'm never on the first one there. On the second one, it's probably like once a month.
That's the watching videos, streamers, influencers.
Right.
Playing competitive game mode?
Probably like once every, less than once every 3 months, but definitely more than every 6 months. Anyway, continue.
Mm-hmm. And watching live streams or streamers, influencers playing competitive game modes?
1 to 3 times a week.
Yep, so there you go. I'm never on all of them. So that's it, and I'll let you take back over from themed weekends.
Righty-yo. So, you said that you would engage in esports. Oh, they want information from me because I said I'd engage in esports. So good time to pass it back to me. You said that you'd engage in esports by playing competitive game modes. Why? Because of the prize money? No. To try out a new game mode activity once or twice? Yes. I'm interested in the unique rewards? Yes. I'm competitive and want to try to compete in the finals? No, I generally suck. I play because I am part of a clan. Our clan doesn't do that type of stuff. I just play casually more than once or twice. Yeah. Because my favorite influencers and streamers are competing? Yep. And that's about it. Let's see. Please select the main reasons that you watch these things. I'm interested in the finals because of my favorite influencers, because it is my favorite game. No, the first two, yes. I am interested in regular esports live streams. Nah, not really. It's mainly because my favorite streamers watching them or playing them for the unique rewards and offers. Yeah, sure. That's about it there. We are considering introducing competitive esports modes into RuneScape. Please read the following descriptions and rate how interested you are.
This will be interesting.
A PVM mode where players from around the world compete to be the first to beat an elite content with unique items, emotes, and prizes on offer for teams that are successful.
I'd be interested in that.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that. A PVM and PvE game mode where players begin with a blank slate, optimizing their player character in a race against time to complete as many clue scrolls as possible.
Interested in that.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that. A PvP game mode whereas teams of players compete against one another in class-based capture the flag style gameplay, competing to become the world's best. Somewhat. The first two are better. Themed weekends. We are considering some alternates to Double XP Weekend. Bonus XP burn weekends. Isn't that just called, like, Treasure Hunter with fucking...
I know. I looked at this and I thought that's even more egregious than double XP weekends. Just burn your bonus XP at twice the rate. Unappealing.
Yeah, very unappealing. Double
I
drop
was very
weekend.
unappealing on all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
double
so,
drop weekend unappealing. Double resource weekend somewhat unappealing. No, very unappealing. Luck weekend I'll go somewhat unappealing on. Everything else.
again, the reason double drops and the luck weekends I said no to is because again they bring that risk of lower. If everyone starts doing it, it affects the economy and it lowers the cost of these things. So if you start getting double dies or a lot more dies coming in off clue scrolls. If it was just a pet increase, that's fine. But for signet rings and dies and things, no, because they're a tradable item that makes money, and I don't want to see them devalued.
Right, that's fair. When is the last time you purchased treasure hunter keys? Mine was in the last year. Moving along.
Yeah, I think mine was. I bought it with bonds about 2 or 3 years ago when I was chasing one of the outfits.
You said you spend less on treasure hunter or have stopped spending on treasure hunter. Why is this? I'm tired of microtransactions. Some would agree that the items released on are not appropriate for RuneScape. I would agree with that on treasure hunter specifically. I don't like and have a use for direct experience. I strongly agree with that. I'm not interested in lucky weapons or armor. Meh, neutral.
Well, again, I mean, I'm not really interested in them because they're worthless. They're a cosmetic. That's all they are.
I don't like or have a use for the cosmetic items I receive. Is the next one there? No, I generally I like the cosmetics. I have not had disposable income to spend on treasure hunter. Personally, none of your business, but yeah. I think treasure hunter provides poor value for money. I strongly agree with that. I'm not interested in GP prizes. Somewhat.
Somewhat disagree. I don't mind the GP, but yeah.
I think treasure hunter is too expensive. Somewhat agree with that. I do not have a use for other in-game items I receive, such as spring cleaners, silver hawk boots, slayer masks. I would disagree strongly with that.
Yeah, I do have a use for those.
Are there any areas where you think treasure hunter could be improved, or any features which are missing, which could lead to engage with more people to engage more with treasure hunter? I'm not gonna help you.
I left that empty.
Yeah.
Basically, I strongly agreed with not have a use for the bonus XP and direct XP because I hate that because it just makes the game go too quick.
Right.
I like the challenge of leveling up and such. I was pretty neutral on everything else, other than, as you said, the spring cleaner Silverhawk boots. I do like getting those, and I'm not really interested in the key weapons and such because, again, I basically destroy them and put them in Diango, and they never see the light of day. So
Right. When was the last time you purchased an item from Solomon's store? Within the last 6 months. Actually, that's not true. Go back. How did I end up here? Did I actually go back by accident? I've actually purchased one within the last 3 months, I think, because of the big sale they had.
yeah, I bought within the last week. I used my tokens to unlock another aura.
There you go. Thinking about how much you spend on Solomon's store compared to 6 months ago, I spend about the same.
Yeah, I spend the same because I don't actually spend money on it. I just use the I get the free items and I get the auras.
So, in regard to Solomon's store, from strongly disagree to strongly agree, the items released in the last 6 months are visually appealing to me. I somewhat agree with that.
Neutral. Yeah.
I think Solomon's store provides good value for money. I'm neutral there. The items released in the last 6 months are appropriate for RuneScape. I agree. The offers and content in Solomon's store have become more compelling. Neutral there. What about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty. I would neutral on everything.
Oh, okay. I can more easily afford Solomon's store. No. My spend on Solomon's store has made my experience more fun or compelling. Yeah, generally. I can access more content thanks to my Solomon Store purchase. No. I'm moving along. Nothing to add there. What is the minimum number of quests you think should be released in a year? They give you the option from 0 to 30. That's a lot.
I said 8.
Yeah, I was going to say about 6.
Yeah, I mean, every 2 months is good, but I'd like a couple of just little bottle crests thrown in there as well.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Every 6 to 8 weeks,
right.
I think is fine. So that's why I went 8.
How long is the minimum time you think a quest should take to play through?
Stupid question.
Right. I put 30 minutes because that's the smallest amount of time they have there.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's also... There's reasons to have 8-hour quests.
Right.
There's reasons to have 15-minute quests.
Right.
I mean, it was a stupid question. I don't think this should be a question in there at all.
I agree. How important is it to you that quests include brand new models, environments, etc.? It's only...
slightly important.
Yeah, I would say it's only slightly important.
Yeah, I mean, if it's there for a reason and such, then by all means. But if it's going to hold back a quest and you can get away with using the current models and things, then don't worry about updating them unless you need to.
How important is story in non-quest updates like dungeons, bosses, skill training methods, etc.? I said slightly important.
I said somewhat important for that because I like to know the backstory. Why is that boss there? And I'd love to have a little quest before every boss release, just so I know the story. Maybe you don't have to play through that quest, but for people like myself who love the lore and want to find out why Zaraxor appeared there, why is Virago there, have a little quest that leads up to it. I would love to see that.
Yeah, for me, it's more of a judgment call. Like, if it's a small skilling update, probably doesn't need content. If it's a dungeon with a boss, yeah, it needs some story.
And again, that's right. Again, that's why I said somewhat important, not very important. But again, it's one of those questions that sort of depends, on what the update is.
Fair. Please indicate your level of appeal for the following quests. The Origins of Zaros. Much has been said about the origins of Zaros, but Zaros knows most of it to be lies. Travel into his mindscape to find out what made him the Empty Lord. That's very appealing to me.
Yeah. Now, this is very appealing to me. However, it makes me hesitant. The fan fiction book I am writing is actually about Mars' creation of Zaros and Seren and their time before coming to Gillinor. So
you better sell them the rights quick.
No, I'm happy, but I want to see what they say or what I have now. But yeah, no, I love to see this one.
Temple at Sentistan 2, Zaros returns to the dig site and enters an area that hasn't been previously discovered. Rewards include new curses. I would say that is very appealing. Back to the God Wars quest. Using the needle, travel back to Farinthri with a group of other characters, including the God Wars. During the God Wars, rather.
Again,
neutral.
I put somewhat appealing, simply because again it's a time travel thing. I don't really. I mean, all of a sudden this needle's come in and we're going to throw it in every quest to start time traveling. That's starting to get a little. Actually, I'm going to go neutral on that as well, just for because it's using the needle.
Right, fair, okay.
Which actually we don't even own anymore. It's stolen by Kerapak.
Spoilers.
So how can we quest with it?
Maybe by the time this quest comes out, that will be fixed.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so we have Araxor quest. Form a group with a number of renowned vampires and raid Araxor's lair for a secret cave that holds a vampire treasure thought lost. That's somewhat unappealing for me.
Is it? I put very appealing.
You know what? Now that... Oh, here's the thing.
The vampire storyline.
All I read was Araxor quest, and I assume I'd had to fight Araxor, but you're right. That's somewhat appealing to me. It's a vampire series, and I like the vampire series. Who is the Raptor quest? That is somewhat unappealing to me. Mercenaries from around the world arrive and demand that the Raptor is handed over to them. Find out who the Raptor is and what their origins mean for RuneScape.
I've already got again in my book. There is I uncover who the Raptor is in that. The
Raptor is Certificashing. That's just who it is.
No, we'll see in mine. The Raptor is there were 6 six original races on where the Magebit come from, Frenescape. One of them, they all battled until there was one left. That's who the Raptor is for me. It is the last remaining of the race from Gillinor, from Frenescape.
Interesting. That's cool. A new elf storyline? That's somewhat appealing to me.
I put neutral because I want them to finish old storylines first.
That's a valid reason. Dragon Slayer 2. A dragonkin has moved its consciousness into a dragon and is threatening Gillinor. Bring Robert the Strong back to help defeat it.
I found that a pretty good concept. I like that idea.
Very appealing to me.
Yeah, very appealing.
White Knight finale. Enter the top ranks of the White Knights and gain top-ranked armor. A Black Knight versus White Knight 6th Age tale. Very appealing to me.
It's a finale, so yes, let's finish a storyline. Thank you.
The Slayer Master Trials, a skill cave quest. A quest that requires 99 Slayer. Pass the trials and become an actual Slayer Master. I'm neutral there.
I put somewhat appealing. I think I put very appealing on my last one, but sort of, again, become an actual Slayer Master, explain more of that. So I put somewhat appealing until I get further notice.
The World Wakes 2, a heist into the sleeping chambers of an elder god with the Guardians of Guthas. Very appealing. That sounds epic.
Actually, that was one I put somewhat unappealing. Do you want to really go and tempt an elder god, wake them up, and have them come and destroy the world?
A little bit. Desert Treasure 2, a quest to recover the lost Zorosian Majorat featuring Azarandra unlocks new spells. Somewhat appealing.
Very appealing for me. I love the Desert Treasure
bad memories.
quest, and I also really love the sort of the Majorat storylines. I'm really interested in the Majorat, so yeah.
Death of the Wise Old Man. The Wise Old Man has been murdered. You are confident that the killer has attended his funeral, so attend and investigate who or what killed him. I'm neutral.
I put much as I don't want to see the old man die, I put somewhat appealing because of that, just the way they did that sort of investigate, that sort of whodunit type thing, and that last one that that Mod Osborne wrote, I thought was really good. So I put somewhat appealing on that one.
Recent and non-quest updates like The Land Out of Time and Breaking the Storm have tried to build a coherent ongoing storyline. Were you aware that storyline was happening? Yeah.
Well, yeah, unless you were hiding under a rock.
Are you interested in the current storyline, which includes Karapak, Thok, and the Needle Artifact, and the Elder Gods? I'm very interested.
I'm somewhat interested. I am very interested in it, but I'm going to say very interested because I do love the storyline, but I do want to see them sort of finish off old ones first. But no, it is a really good storyline.
Does an ongoing story make you more or less interested in upcoming updates? I mean, increases my interest very much so.
Yeah, very much increases it.
Do you do you think updates like bosses, dungeons, skill training methods, and more should be tied into the ongoing storyline of Karapak and the Elder Gods?
I mean, if it makes sense to, yes, but don't just do it arbitrarily just because you want to tie it into it.
Right. I said the same as they are now.
The same. Yeah, that's what I said. The same now. If it's important to and it makes sense to, yeah. But don't do it just because you want to try and fit more into that storyline base.
We are interested in exploring the human kingdoms, Varric, Falador, Ardoin, etc. in future content. Please rate the following aspects according to how much they interest you. So this goes from not appealing at all to very appealing. Politics and rivalries between kingdoms. That's
somewhat appealing.
Same. Saradominus and Zamaraki and religion in the kingdoms. Somewhat appealing.
See, again, I don't like religion fights and things, so I put not appealing.
Skullduggery and assassinations. I'm neutral there.
Neutral, yeah.
Open warfare between the kingdoms. Somewhat appealing. It depends on how they go about doing it.
Yeah, somewhat.
Could be another world event if they do it right. Interactions, or wrong. Interactions between the kingdoms and non-human regions. What does that mean?
As in the goblins, the trolls, working with them or fighting with
I'm
them.
neutral.
Yeah, I put somewhat appealing.
History of the human tribes in the Fourth Age and how the kingdoms were formed. That's very appealing for me.
Yeah, that's the one thing I chose as very appealing. I thought that'd be really interesting to see.
How appealing are the following updates to you here? New Vampire Storyline Quest, a 6th aid quest that tears apart the current Mauritanian status quo as the vampires of Mauritanian smell weakness and move against the Gillinorian vampires. That's very appealing to me.
Yeah, I love the vampire series, and I was really... I put somewhat appealing for the simple fact that I do want older quest lines finished first, but I do want to see sort of the vampire series continue.
Right. Riders of the Apocalypse quest. With the Elder Gods on the brink of destroying the world, the Riders of the Apocalypse have set up permanently. Join them against the Elder God. Don't like it because it's too borderline on real-world bullcrap.
I put moderately appealing, and this is actually surprising because I thought all the quests I'd be always above new. I put moderately appealing for the simple fact that the Riders of the Apocalypse leave a bad taste in my mouth after that Halloween event where they screwed me out of the cosmetic override.
Barrows Brothers, the search for death quest. After Sliskia's endgame, the Barrows Brothers are eager for peace. Help them through the underworld in a quest for death. That is very appealing.
Cool. Okay, I was neutral on that one.
Metaphos finale. Amascus must be faced and her crimes must be punished. Join Ichtharlan, Death, and Ozan, among others, in taking her down. I'm neutral there.
When they say finale, I go very appealing because I want to see storylines wrapped up.
One of a kind, too. The Dragon Rider quest. Karabek has left Hannibus a serum that could be the saving of the Dragon Riders. Join Hannibus back at Io, his home planet, to see if they can be saved. Somewhat appealing to me.
Very appealing. I love the original Dragon Rider, the One of a Kind quest, and this continuation will be really, really good.
Okay, that's a good reason. Thok quest, a quest where you play as Thok and you see how he has helped along all of the pivotal moments in RuneScape's modern history. I'm neutral there.
I put somewhat appealing. I do like Thok and some of those the dungeoneering little mini quest things that we have to do. Fremennik Trials up there were fun, so I put somewhat appealing.
Monkey Madness 2. Revisit Apatol to find out how Marimbo has reintroduced herself to her people. Can you guess what I rated this one?
Oh, you don't want that at all, do you?
No.
After the last Monkey Madness?
No.
I put somewhat appealing.
Get that out of here. Breaking History Quest, a sequel to the Making History quests, where a far more explorable area of the Second Age will be available, including a young Guthix. I want to hear your thoughts first, because this is a time travel quest.
Exactly. This is a time travel quest, but it sort of follows on with those other ones, and we weren't really able to affect history in the other ones. It was more of just exploring and understanding. If it follows that type of sequence, then I found it somewhat appealing, mainly because we sort of get to see a young Guthix too, and just sort of see how he brings things up. So
the name
sort of
Breaking History,
very appealing, but Breaking History was what sort of got me a bit. What do you mean breaking history? Does that mean we can stop Guthix dying?
Right, you're going to tell young Guthix,
and then when we come back, Guthix is here.
There you go. Violet is Blue 2 is somewhat unappealing for me. That was a holiday quest.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Build upon it. If it comes out in December, then fine.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was thinking. It was sort of more of a Christmas type quest when they bring it out at the same time. But I thought the graphics were spectacular in that. The Yeti town was really well done. And just that next step forward, as you said, a little holiday quest I thought was really appealing.
It was a great quest.
I thought somewhat appealing on that one, yeah.
All right. The return of King Valance. The king has returned to Falador, but so much time has passed that many are suspicious of his intentions. Join Sir Tiffy in investigating where he has been. Somewhat appealing to me.
I put neutral because I have never heard of this King Valance.
Because he's been gone so long.
Yeah, I know, but there's just like we're retrofitting a king into Falador all of a sudden. It's sort of pretty much been the White Knight's town all this way through. So I just put neutral because, I'd need to know more about it and such and see a bit more of the lore of this guy first.
The Pilgrimage of Guthix. A memory of Guthix has been traveling the same path Guthix traveled when he first became a god. Follow it yourself and put the memory to rest. That's somewhat appealing.
I put very appealing because just anything with Guthix I love, and
Right.
It doesn't sound like it's a combat one. It's going to be a very heavy quest, I think, and really give you sort of even more depth to Guthix. So I put very appealing to that for me.
Recently, we rebalanced Hunter and expressed a wish to change player-owned farms because their XP rates were higher than they should have been. Were you aware of these rebalances?
The Sons of V quest.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Sons of V quest is somewhat appealing to me.
Yeah, well, I put neutral because again he was only in for 10 minutes and then we killed him.
Ah, yeah, I know that. That's why I want to talk to his children. So yes, I was aware of these nerfs.
Yeah.
I
love the nerfs.
Do you strongly agree with the rebalances to Hunter? Somewhat agree, neither, somewhat disagree, or strongly disagree? I strongly agree with the rebalances to Hunter.
I strongly agreed with it too.
Do you strongly agree with the proposes to the recent player-owned farms? Yeah, I do.
Definitely.
What is your opinion on the changes that have been implemented to Hunter? Maybe could have gone a little bit further, but it's right around the...
I put could have gone a little bit further. I still think 700k an hour is still too much, but still I think they did a really good job to appease pretty much everyone except the most vocal XP hunters.
Right. What is your opinion on the changes that have been proposed to the player-owned farm? Did not go far enough? Could have gone a little further? About right? Or went a little too far? Could have gone a little further, in my opinion.
I'm going back to the original one of 70%. I said about right.
I'm going to the one of the adjust, and I'm saying it should go back to 70%.
Okay. Yeah, okay, then I'll agree with that then. I'll go could go a little bit further.
Where did you hear about either of these rebalances?
And I put the RuneScape Weekly podcast there.
And where did I hear about them? From Reddit mainly, and the official forums and live streams. Oh, excuse me. How interesting are the following types of skilling updates? New skilling method to like deep sea fishing, Hall of Memories, stuff like that.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I'm moderately interested. New skills, extremely interesting. How about you?
Very interested in new skills.
Skill reworks, extremely interesting.
Extremely on that one.
Existing skills to 120, extremely interesting.
Extremely, totally, positively. I want a number 6 version there for that one.
To what extent do you agree or disagree with the following idea? Raising the cap of a skill by 5 or 6 levels at a time, players would have a greater amount of time to reach the new skill cap, and there would be a greater density of unlocks.
I don't agree with that at all. I mean, I'm going to have one skill that I'm maxed at 105, and then the next skill is going to be maxed at 110, but this one's at 99. But this one's 115, and this one's at 110 as well. It's just so confusing. You go 99 or 120. That's it.
I'm neutral. I have no idea if that would work or not. Excuse me. But I do think it's kind of weird.
You got new players coming in, and they say, oh, well, okay, my divination, you've got a level of 110, but you've only got 99, mining, but you're 120 on Slayer. What was 120 the cap on everything? Oh, no, 99 is for mining. And at the moment, divination is 110, but next month it'll be going up to 115. And in 6 months' time, this one over here is going up to 110 as well now. So, I just think it gets too confusing and convoluted.
Skilling generates less gold than combat. Which of the following approaches would you like to bring combat and skiller closer in generating gold? Bring combat money-making down across the board in line with combat. Yep.
With non-combat? Yeah. But,
Yeah, no.
I mean, that's never...
I know. Rebalance the most unbalanced combat moneymakers.
How do I sound now?
Like you're in a hat shell?
What?
Nice.
That should sound good now.
Are you near your microphone or on the other side of the room? Buff a
Yes,
number.
I'm near my microphone.
Oh, yeah, I'm just teasing you. Buff a number of non-combat money-making methods. Yeah, can I just tick off all of these?
Yeah.
Introduce some new money-making methods for skilling. Yeah, sure.
Again, yeah, sure, but how are you going to do that?
But actually do it.
Yeah.
Which 3 skills would you like most reworked? This is not fair.
No, I know. Construction was my number 1. Yes.
Yeah.
Construction.
I said construction. I really want to tick off dungeoneering just because I want it completely reworked from the ground up into an actual skill. But, I'll be fair and probably go with something more along the lines of farming and agility.
Yeah. I chose agility, crafting, construction.
Good choices. To what extent do you agree or disagree with the following idea? Increase free-to-play to level 30, where currently players can skill to level 5. I'm strongly in favor of that.
I'm strongly in favour of that for the simple fact that, especially with mobile coming out and we want to bring those players in, give them a good solid taste of a skill. I mean, you get from 1 to 5 in 3 or 4 minutes in some of the skills. You don't get to really understand it. Even if they said, to level 20, but, certainly give them something to sink their teeth into, get a real taste of the game so you can convert more to membership. So
Right.
definitely agree.
What about now?
You
much
better, but you just scared the living shit out of me because I have you at 99%. All right, let me bring you down, and I'm probably gonna have to edit the show now because that legitimately hurt. Cities as areas to be rebuilt.
Am I good now?
Yeah, you're fine. I brought you down to a different volume level. Cities as areas to be rebuilt. Rundown cities like Varrock and Ardoin can be improved by the player adding new areas to explore, attracting new characters, and adding more skilling locations. I'm neutral.
I put slightly appealing.
Anna? Safe cracking 2. Bank heists.
I would say very appealing.
Very appealing. No problem. All right. What was this? Safe cracking 2. Bank heists. First, lumping this in with safe cracking isn't fair, but because the idea of bank heists sounds badass. Larger scale safe cracking with you entering and clearing bank vaults without banks noticing you are there, thieving XP and resources in solo and cooperative play. I'm slightly appealed by that.
I put not appealing at all because I think they screwed up big time with safe cracking, and I just saw safe cracking 2, and I'm sticking to that thought.
Yeah.
Very appealing.
Thank you. Construction to 120 and rework. A more attractive and intuitive player-owned house style with graphical rework, with content and improved training. Moving away from building and rebuilding the same thing. Very appealing to me.
Very appealing.
Very
In fact,
appealing.
again, if there was a 6 very totally most definitely have to be done, I'd be choosing that one.
Yeah. Dungeoneering race and new scenarios. Unappealing. Moving along. No, currently there is one scenario in Dungeoneering. Raid rooms and kill a boss. We would add more competitive modes, survival modes, and more. So again, my answer stands.
Yeah, it doesn't appeal on me.
Same.
Skilling abilities. Abilities that aid you in skilling. Imagine area of effect skilling abilities that clear a broad range of resources, or damage over time abilities that keep gathering resources after you have stopped. Somewhat appealing, Sounds like they could ruin the game with it, but also sounds cool.
Yeah,
Sounds
it sounds cool depending how they do it, and as long as there's costs associated and you need to do unlocks and such, I'll put somewhat appealing.
Oh, what did you say, Hannah? I didn't get yours.
That sounds like fun, so I guess very appealing.
Okay. New skilling boss. Similar to Big Game Hunter, add skilling bosses to other non-combat skills in the game. It's likely that we would attempt to both solo and cooperative experiences. Very appealing to me.
Very appealing.
Yeah.
Floor 61. New floors added to the Prestige run. No. Just no, very unappealing.
Yes.
See, I put not appealing at all. Floor 61 was traditionally where Zamorak was, which got destroyed once we, once you come out of there for. So what's the point? I think floor 61s, we've gone beyond that now. So
Right.
I put not appealing at all.
I 100% agree with that for the most part. And all of the parts. Magic smithing rework. Oh, magic and smithing rework. That confused the crap out of me the first time I saw that. So it's a magic... It's a magic rework similar to smithing. Similar to how mining and smithing rework balance melee gear, making it viable and a moneymaker, we would like to do the same thing for magic gear, likely with crafting and rune crafting and magic. Hell yes.
Yes.
Again, I put somewhat appealing only for the fact that Masterwork didn't make the money that they said to do, and I can't see this doing the same. Because, again, you're probably going to be using Pyrnix for the magic and Virtus, or whichever one's Pyrnix
Virtus.
for the range and Virtus for the magic.
Yeah.
Which is just going to pump the prices up on there, screw the skills over again, and we're going to left with doing 10 hours work to make 12 million GP, which sounds good, but when we break it down, it's only 1.2 mil an hour anyway.
Right.
What's the point?
What's the point? Now I hate this update. Range smithing rework, again, somewhat appealing.
Same thing, yeah. I just put slightly appealing for those very reasons. I see it, but
I would put very appealing.
Okay.
I
Pyrnassius
really
has
like
brought me down.
any rework. I mean, even you're right, they don't make as much as they could, but you can still make like a mil or two an hour depending on the market, and that's way better than what it was for mining.
Right. That's true.
But I wish it was more just like you.
Yeah, it's just not at like Albion levels, that's all. Skilling dungeons. Dungeons dedicated to particular non-combat skills. They would include all methods of training that skill and would require your knowledge in that skill to navigate. That's somewhat appealing. I like the idea and concept.
yeah, slightly appealing.
Yeah, I'd say somewhat appealing.
Invention golems. Create golems and program them or teach them how to perform certain activities like fighting, combat training. They then complete those actions while you are doing other things.
Now, they spoke about invention golems, I think it was a game jam or two ago, where they were going to sit there and they were going to go around and collect your resources, like, go to Fremnik and get your yak hides and go and do your rune store runs and things like that for you at a cost. If they're the type of invention golems they're talking about as well, love it. If they're only fighting and combat training ones, then don't care at all. So I went neutral because they didn't mention those sort of collection type golems again. So I went neutral on this.
Summoning to 120 and rework, a graphical rework and new familiars, offering at least one familiar to each level, all the way to 120. Got to catch them all? Yeah, hell yeah. Got to summon them all.
Very, very appealing.
Player constructed agility house. Gain obstacles when training non-combat skills in Gielinor. Bring them to your player-owned agility course and create whichever route you like. That's kind of interesting.
I really like the
Yeah,
of that.
very appealing.
Agility, yeah, very appealing to me.
All right. Moving along to the next page. This is about email communication, so it's not really important. What topics would you be interested in hearing about in RuneScape emails? In-game promotions. That is an option. Merchandise, player testing or workshops, monthly newsletter, competitions, content updates, sales or other offers, surveys. Lay it all on me.
I put content update, monthly newsletter, in-game promotions, surveys. I mean, player testing and workshops. I don't live in the UK, so they have no interest to me at all.
Y'all can answer the next question being about email again, and I'll move on to the next page. Where do you get your RuneScape news from? So I get...
This podcast.
Other podcast?
Right? But I personally have to get it from somewhere. I also get it from Reddit, the official website as well. Just not the forums anymore. There's RuneScape website. Which social media platforms do you use to discuss RuneScape? Twitter, Discord, Facebook, Twitch, Reddit, YouTube. All right. That's fair. How often do you watch the weekly RuneScape Q&As on Twitch? Regularly, but not always.
Not anymore. When they were weekly, I watched them all the time, but I think they're back to weekly now, but when they changed to not weekly for a while, it fucked everything over for me.
Only sometimes to me because it's they start at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's fair. That's like a legitimate reason to not watch them.
But I always watch them on YouTube when they're up there 2 or 3 days later. So, and they don't have that. Do you rewatch them on YouTube or anything like that? Because then, I watch them every week then.
And thusly, that ends the survey. And also, to be honest with you, I'm just going to not bother with the next topic because I've run way over the amount of time that I thought I was going to have. But we will do a RuneScape confession if you'd like from the moderator protection folder. Let's see here. Oh, I did that one already. Let me get that out of there. I did that one already as well, I think.
I've got one.
Okay.
This was by. Do we announce their names or?
Yeah, if it's public.
Okay, this is by Wanda Squander, who says cheating the phone company for RuneScape memberships. When my sister and I were kids, we begged our mum to pay for our RuneScape memberships. It was $5 a month subscription fee, and sometimes she would pay for it as a treat for us, but most of the time she wouldn't. At some point, we realized that there was an option to have the subscription fee added onto our phone bill, and all we had to do was put in our phone numbers and respond to the text we received with a capital yes. It showed up on the bill as a Jagex Games fee, and our mum never put 2 and 2 together. She would call the phone company and yell at them until they reversed the fees, but for some reason, our RuneScape memberships were never cancelled. So essentially, we spent our years with a regular RuneScape membership, and the phone company picked up the tab. Our mother never figured out our little trick, and to this day still has no idea. I still feel guilty. We were little shits.
You want to hear about being a shit on the same topic of RuneScape membership? I bought my RuneScape membership using my dead grandma's PayPal card. It says here, this one is by Muzak7526. I feel guilty of this, and I confess to this. I really wanted RuneScape membership for a while, and my grandma would always spoil me. Sadly, she passed away from a heart attack in 2014 when she was in the hospital. I searched her house and found her PayPal card and I bought RuneScape membership with my grandmother's money. And as I was heading to the hospital, she passed away. And this is his first time confessing it, and she just wishes he could say sorry. So, it's a shitty thing.
That is.
All right. So that is that. We will be back, hopefully, next week for another edition of RuneScape Weekly. I'm going to do my best.
Friday or Sunday?
Yeah, we should probably be back on the Friday schedule.
I probably won't be because I've got actually, no, I might be because it's my daughter's 21st on Friday.
Okay.
We're having the party on Saturday, so... But I should probably
be in contact with me because you are a major key to when I decide to do the show. But anyway, in the meantime, you can find us in many different places, like a billion different places, in fact, such as Facebook. We can at facebook.com/rsweekly. We're at rsweekly over on Twitter. Magebit.online gets you into our Discord in our web browser. In your web browser, rather. I believe RuneScape.video is still functioning as well for the YouTube channel. Magebit.tv to watch us live on Twitch. In-game, Kill, Skill, and Chill is the name of the clan. If you want to find me in-game, too bad. If you want to find me on the web, still RuneScape.expert functions. I have been offline for a little while because I've been playing Albion. If you want to play Albion with me, hit me up. My name is Magebit there, or just contact me on Discord, and I'll give you a referral code if you don't play the game yet, and we can play together and be noobs together. Anyway, I'll be back next week to do it again, and maybe I'll be streaming next week, so keep an eye on the Twitch channel for that. Anyway, happy scaping. If you missed any of today's episode, I will run a rerun for you.